A very good morning and a warm welcome to HRizon by Zoho, convergence of technology, culture and purpose. We are super excited to have you at the inaugural edition of HRizon, where HR leaders of today connect to reimagine human resources for tomorrow. I'm Annie, product marketer for Zoho's HR suite of apps, and it's a delight to meet you all, to be before you all today. So let's step into this day of insights and interesting conversations with a welcome note by Reena Sagai-Peter, the head of marketing for Zoho's HR suite of apps. Please put your hands together to welcome Reena for us.
Thank you, Annie. Welcome to HRizon 2025 and a very warm welcome to all of you here who live and breathe HR. It's so amazing to see all the HRs here, our customers, the HR community leaders here. A very warm welcome again. So this is not just another event, but we are here today to pause, reflect, and rethink what work really means today, right? I hope everyone agrees to that. So we have entered a space, specifically at this gen, where the technology is reshaping work, right? And culture defines how we do it, and purpose is the reason behind of it all, right? So this is a moment to ask ourselves, how do we build? So this is a moment for us to think and ask ourselves, so how are we going to build a workplace which is not just efficient but deeply human, right? So that's what HR is all about, right? So how do we make the workplace more comfortable and make it more human, the touch that we do it in everyday work. So yeah, HR at the heart of it all. So yeah, to start the journey, let's talk about the heart of it all, which is you, the HR, and how your role has evolved. So you're no longer in the behind scenes. You're going to be the center stage in an organization, right? So everyone looking up to you is going to, feel very comfortable to see whether I'm in a very safe workplace or, because the culture is going to define all of that and you're behind that. So with the technology that's really growing at a very rapid pace, we see there's a lot of burnout, right? It's there everywhere and it's real. It's something that we can't deny on. So people definitely need a lot of flexibility and they also need a lot of attention, right? And culture, that's going to be your superpower any day. So through it all, you keep showing up with all your heart and soul and with all the clarity. So hats off to you all, and you're all our superheroes, and that's why HR matters so much. The change that in your role is stepping up and leading in front. So that's exactly why we created the HRizon, to give HR a stage where to be heard and elevated, and to rethink how technology, culture and purpose come together to reshape the work that we are at today. And of course, the human connections over here that we make to inspire the change, right? So this isn't a typical, a tech event. It's going to be a collaboration space, a space to reflect, and this is completely your space. So feel free, whatever energizes you, feel free to do that. Yeah, so this is your space that we have built it for you today. And our journey with HR actually started a long time ago, and it's been growing ever since. At Zoho, we have been crafting softwares for 25 years, 55 plus applications, and we have now about 120 plus million users worldwide. And our journey has always been, about solving the real problems, starting from our own organization. And that's how our HR software, Zoho People, was also built. So we are with HR for about 16 plus years now, starting with our own team's HR challenges. And we have grown and evolved every bit from the feedback that we hear from our customers, from our partners, and the wider HR community. So thank you all for being there to always guide us and inspire us all along the way. So we just don't build HR, we build it with heart. So that's the thing. So now, let's just pause and think for ourselves. Some of the simple questions that we can ask. So what does the workplace that puts people first really look like? And how we use tech without using the human tools. Can we shape the culture with intent and not just inherit as it comes along way? So these are some of the it could be very simple questions, but we might not even have answers for it. So this is all where we begin. So let's just start from here to think about it, and let's all explore all these together today. And I'm so glad we are going to do it with all of you. So what we expect today is you'll be hearing from a lot of inspiring HR leaders how the real organizations are changing the way the work is happening right now and how tech fits into everyday HR. So that's going to be some of the major topics that we are going to have here today. We are going to have some interesting AI sessions, which is going to be like AI versus HR. I'm sure it's going to be like fun and thought-provoking to everyone. And most importantly, take time to connect with people here, because this is going to be your space. Collaborate a lot more and make it a day, whatever is going to energize you. So, and through all of these, let's remember what we stand for. So HR is not about just running, and it's about showing people a better way to work and grow. So that's our key thing, right? So let's focus on that. So because you're going to hold the future of work in your hands, and that's something really big. So let's make most of it and enjoy everything what today has to offer. So thank you once again for joining us in HRizon, and let's shape what's next together. Enjoy your day. Have a good day.
Thank you, Reena, for setting up the stage and your warm welcome. We are now ready to kickstart HRizon, but let me just pause there for a few quick announcements. So you have the agenda right there on your tabletops, also behind your tab cards. I'm sure you're all familiar with the exits, and we have a hot beverages station just outside the hall for you. So anytime you want to feel refreshed, please step out, grab a bite, and please join us back in. And also we'll be breaking open for a quick high tea networking break at 11, lunch at 1, and we'll have a parting break at 4 p.m. at the end of the session. And during the course of the event, if you require any assistance, if you have any questions, you want to meet anybody, Zoho we are wearing this black tag. We are just maybe sitting just next to you, around, over here, there, everywhere. So anything, anytime, please feel free to strike a conversation. We also have an engagement zone and a booth just outside the hall. So just stop by, strike a conversation. You can ask us what we have in store for you, how we can help you with our solutions and everything. So yeah, that will be all. And with that, I would like to get started with the first keynote of HRizon. Are we all ready for the first keynote of HRizon? Great, thank you so much for that. Please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Rajendran Dandapani, Director of Engineering, Zoho Corporation, and President of Zoho Schools of Learning, for his first keynote on to find, to grow, to keep HR's eternal enigma. Thank you.
Namaste, everybody. Not new to us. We know every one of these terms. That was the challenge I faced when I started preparing for this keynote, because what do I tell humans from this amazing domain where your singular purpose and motive is to bring out the singular purpose and motive of every one of your colleagues? Yes, something has changed. Technology, including this new two-letter acronym AI, is trying to put a new lens, give a new color, twist, probably stretch, probably redefine and reimagine each of those terms. This is happening over the past 7, 8 years. It has been accelerating. AI is not new, but if you want to give a driving and a car on the road analogy, data is today being accumulated even as we are seated here with our phone face down. It is telegraphing data to the data centers owned by Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Facebook, about the Wi-Fi strength, about the traffic, probably even about temperature, other apps running, battery percentage left so they can charge more on the Uber call, and so on. It's being collected, and it's the new oil, they say. Everywhere, data. The second thing that's converging in this Triveni Sangamam is the processor. Once upon a time, all of us had children who holed up in the garage and were playing games and shouting all sorts of bad words at their colleagues, but you need to thank them because that is why NVIDIA went ahead and created graphics processors, and somebody else came up with that smart idea of, can I use GPUs to actually crunch data, do mathematics, particularly matrix mathematics, and provide insights from data, processors. And of course, the third that's coming together is algorithms, various kinds of machine learning, deep learning, putting data together, and identifying which data to not include. From data to information to knowledge to wisdom, algorithms help us. So it's actually a no-brainer. Please adopt technology. Please embrace AI. I'm not here to tell you that. Instead, I'm going to take a different approach. This list, I'm going to walk through this list one by one. And I'm going to tell you that as we embrace and adopt and probably adapt and implement technologies, including AI, we have also found that overdoing it, doing it in the wrong place at the wrong time, with the wrong people, doing it without a proper understanding of what is in the center of it all, can actually give us not just happiness, but sorrow, anger, irritation. And we're just going to throw out to you some examples, documented examples, even from my own company, where as we went through that process, we also faced challenges. And when I talk about it, remember I'm standing right here in the present. We all know, and I have understood too, that nothing that worked in the past is really relevant anymore. There has been a step change, a paradigm shift. But not enough by just saying nothing that worked till now will work now. Remember, what's working today may not work tomorrow also. It is such an exponential change. So whatever I tell you now, the great changes and the innovations are still cooking in the kitchen. It is a work in progress. Remember that. Talent acquisition. Resumes are being parsed now. Long before humans see the resume, an algorithm sees it. You can even chat using natural language about tasks, about work, about culture. Interviews are being taken by bots. They fail to realize interviews are also given by bots. Right? They fail to realize that. And prediction algorithms that put you like there is a digital twin of an organization, and you as an employee with a specific set of culture, features, abilities, interests, passions are placed in the center. A trial is run. An algorithm crunches 60% success rate. Algorithms do that today. But, know this guy? Know this lady? How about this man? And this man? Their resumes won't contain that one of them was an English teacher. And you know how they learned English? They were visiting a friend, a group of Australian travelers were visiting China. And this boy, to earn a little money, was a tour guide. And the family had a boy, an Australian kid, who became a pen pal with this man. And long after he went back to Australia, he was having conversations with that boy. He used to write two-page, with a separator between two lines, two English sentences, with a line in between. Why? He wanted to get feedback from that Australian kid. That boy wrote back, correcting every little sentence. That is how he became an English teacher, long before he became the head of Alibaba. What about this lady? We know her as a podcaster, as a video lady, as an author, as an opera, as a TV channel today, a brand. But long before that, did you know that she was molested as a teenager? That she had a harrowing experience that bounced her back to go into a TV, into a radio channel and demand that I can actually tell my story. I have powerful thoughts to share. Will that ever be captured in a resume? Will that be parsed by an algorithm? What about that man, Zuckerberg? The first program Zuckerberg wrote was, there were two houses. One house was his dad's dentist room. He was a practicing dentist. That was the dentistry practice. And the opposite side was his dad's home. And his dad didn't get too many customers, so Zuckerberg wanted to help his dad check if somebody was coming in. He created a motion detector, identifying a new customer is coming in, and a bell would ring here. Would this emotionally rich story be captured? Bill Gates, how did he learn programming? He needed access to a computer. How would one get access to a computer during those times? You couldn't order them on Amazon. You couldn't just get one from Dell. There was only a very large computer corporation, a mainframe system, one per city, and very creatively named Computer Central Corporation in Seattle. And this boy and his colleague, who would later become co-founder at Microsoft, struck a deal with the owners of Computer Central Corporation. He said, "You're not having too many visitors on Saturdays. I'm on leave from school on Saturdays. Will you let me work on your computers during the free time?" Intrigued by it, but still wanting to know where it's going to take him, the boss of Computer Central Corporation asks Bill, "What are you going to pay for? How are you going to pay for it?" And Bill says, "I'll find bugs in your code. I'll find mistakes in software that you've written, and for every mistake I find and give me a couple of hours of processing time." How will these be captured in a resume? I am saying, resumes are dead. Don't talk about parsing them now. Employee onboarding. Yes, we have onboarding workflows. There is compliance. We can't miss a single little thing. Everything has to be taken care of. There are task trackers. Has this been done? Has this approval been given? Has this hardware been taken? Is it appropriate to the kind of role and the hierarchical position that person is in? Beautiful. E-signing. Gone are the days where it had to be paper pushed. It's all digitally signed. Amazing. And personalized journeys, depending on what culture they are coming from, which location they are coming from, what special assistance they need. Yes, this used to be a big headache for people. And now there is a beautiful, always available, untiring, never forgetting engine that can help us all track, ensure nothing falls between the gaps. I'm happy. But at the same time, I'm looking at myself as a fresh employee stepping into an organization on day one. The larger the organization, the more this problem is going to be. Because this is how I'm going to be. I'm going to be assigned a number. A sticker is going to be stuck on my face. It will take a long time before I really meet a human being. I would spend years before I really have a coffee with the CEO or the big boss there. What kind of connection? Reena brought up those questions. That is the human touch. And if you're going to offload all these to inhuman, non-humans, what are you going to do? Are you going to spend the time that is saved, spend the unnecessary processing that you had to do manually, that's saving you time? Or are you going to spend that time cooling off, chilling off? Or are you going to use that for higher value provision to our employees? Yes, it should be driven by workflows, but the workflow shouldn't be the interface shown to the employee. It should still be human facing while being powered digitally with intelligence perhaps. Learning and development. Yes, adaptive learning paths. Very long ago, almost 20 years ago, we understood that it's not the same for everybody. Some are fast, some are slow, some are multimodal. They don't understand it the way the other person understands. Some require trickle down, 2-minute topics like Instagram shots and reels, while others like to chew on documents and take it slow. Some require evaluation. Again, some require compliance like security and privacy. You need to ensure they are compliant. So adaptive learning paths are amazing blessing in the world of technology for HR. Just-in-time learning box. There's a beautiful scene in the movie Matrix where our hero asks his friend Trinity, there's a helicopter spinning there, the pilot is dead, and he asks her, do you know how to fly that thing? And there's a classic response that comes from that lady. She doesn't say, I don't know. She says, not yet. Because, like that spinal tap, in 13 seconds, all the information that you need to know to fly that helicopter is embedded in your brain through that mechanical device. The idea being, you are a constant learner. You are a just-in-time learner. Your answer is always, not yet. And curated micro-content. Gone are the days when you had to go through lots of documentation, books, articles, and journals. It is curated just for you. It is filtered through the culture, through the domain, and through the requirements that you are actually seeing it through and given to you when you need. Great? Yes. But I'm going to take you to Steve Jobs. This was the quote he gave, 1984, January 25, when he launched probably what is even today the greatest single hardware launch moment. It even bet the iPhone, I would say. The Macintosh is unveiled, and halfway through the presentation, the Macintosh speaks for itself. That amazing moment. Steve said part of what made the Macintosh great was the people working on it. They were not computer scientists. They were musicians and poets and artists and zoologists and historians who also happened to be the best computer scientists in the world. So we shouldn't get carried away in our zeal to teach them what they need and forget that we don't really know what we all need. Steve Jobs didn't go around looking for computer scientists. He went around looking for passionate people, people passionate in their own fields. He knew he could rally them all together. He had that leadership, that vision. He could rally them together with a sole, singular purpose. What he was looking for was expertise in their domain. How would you capture theirs in your LMS? Will it be short-sighted? Will it be narrow-minded? Will it be a static, closed mindset? Or will it be a growth mindset like this one? Performance management. Done to death, I would say. OKRs, KPIs, yes, continuous evaluation, amazing dashboards, individual dashboards, team dashboards, organizational dashboards. And this is the recent term that I came across when I was researching this talk. an alignment between your individual goals as a person. You have your wishes, you have your dreams, you have your career requirements, what you want to be 5 years, 10 years, and the organization's own needs and its own roadmap in the next few years. There is a term called alignment automation, where everything being software, everything being data, everything being little items in a list somewhere, and automation works on aligning it and sends you micro nudges. Hey, do that a little more. Hey, get your team to build this a little more. Constantly. Chinese torture fashion. Amazing. Interesting. Intriguing. But if you ask somebody to build, to manufacture an 8-inch nail, and tell them, I'm going to evaluate you by the weight of the nail, you're going to get a nail like this. OKRs and KPIs. Oh, you go back and say, wait, this is not what I meant. You need to be measured on the number of nails you make also. And he's going to make nails like these. What you actually wanted was that 8-inch nail. When a measure becomes the target, it ceases to be a good measure. Very interesting law. It has an even more interesting originator's name. You know, this law is called Goodhart's law. There's somebody called Goodhart. No, not H-E-A-R-T, H-A-R-T. But this is Goodhart's law. Internalize it. How many of us have done this? How many of us have colleagues who have done this? Who have obsessed about a particular metric, independent of the 100 other things that are going to probably orchestrate meaningful output, obsess about just that one thing, and miss out on the big picture. When you make a measure, the target, that's it. You're done. It ceases to be a good measure. It's a great law for personal life too. If you're aspiring to be something and you obsess about it single-mindedly, narrowly, by the time you reach there, you will realize that's not what you were looking for. Employee engagement, very important in these days. Gig economy, job switching every 2.5 years. Yes, pulse surveys. While I am speaking, my watch is buzzing. Time to tell my management how I am feeling. Smiley, frowny, neutrally. Sentiment analysis, even without asking me, even without perhaps telling me that it's doing it, the million chat transactions that I am having, the hundreds of emails that I am sending, the time in, the time out that I am actually checking in, the leave frequency, patterns, it's big brother or sister is watching all the time. It can throw up some meaningful insights. It can say somebody is feeling left out, alienated, somebody is feeling purposeless, and deep dives can be made. It has saved lives, it has saved careers. Yes, sentiment analysis. It's always on, never sleeps. It evaluates everything that you do, everything probably that you intend to do in a project plan, evaluates it, comparing with what did you eventually end up doing, your project's input, your attendance input, your leave taking input, your time spent, even camera feeds are now being analyzed. How long did the person really sit? How long did the person spend in the cafeteria? There is software available for all this. Hopefully you're not using those, but it's available. And proactive intervention, that's the aim. We want to fix it. Like doctors say, it's not cure, it is keep you well. We want to be proactive. So please buy this bill. But let me go back to Steve Jobs again. I'm talking about employee engagement. In Steve Jobs' biography by Walter Isaacson, there's a beautiful story Isaacson talks about how Steve Jobs designed the Pixar building. That's Pixar. That building is Pixar. And Steve Jobs had a big role to, he had acquired Pixar, he was the CEO. And Steve said, I will design this building. Okay, Steve, tell us what you want. And because they were creative geniuses after all. And Steve was coming in with some input. And Steve said, marketing will sit there, overseas will sit here, movie making, merchandise will sit here, graphic artists here, programmers here, technologists, hardware, all divisions were made. But when the question came about locating the restrooms, Steve said, it should be only in the left-hand end corridor of the ground floor. Steve, one floor, one restroom per floor at least. Since he put his foot down and said, no, this is how it should be. You might wonder why, and his rationale was, creativity is not channeled. It's not planned. It doesn't happen in the boardroom. You can only foster an environment where creativity will naturally bloom. You cannot dictate creativity. Okay, folks, day after tomorrow, please bring 3 creative things. It's not how creativity is done. And he says, whatever you do in the company, wherever you are at the office, you will anyway need to go there once. And during those moments, there will be random interactions, unplanned encounters, and those encounters, come on, you'll say hi, you will look at the tag, you will look at the hairstyle perhaps, you will overhear some conversation perhaps, and that is where creativity will be born, and I want to capture that at Pixar. Every Oscars, there are three Oscars that go to Pixar. Coincidence? I don't think so. So how will we capture this if you are going to go the technological route, the AI route for employee engagement, designing the position of the restrooms, human touch. Retention and attrition. Yes, you have to monitor disengagement, whether somebody is really engaged, even the angle of the seat, how leaning forward they are in the meeting, how many questions they ask in the meeting, all of this can be tracked. Today, Zoom or any other video conferencing tool has a note taker. And it transcribes everything that you do during the call. And it also tells you, do you want me to analyze it using a ChatGPT connection? And that can be piped into ChatGPT. And ChatGPT will tell you there were 4 people in the meeting, only 2 of them spoke. Get the idea? And is speaking the only engagement? Think about that. There are people who speak so little, but those few words you can actually etch in stone. You're going to meet one like that in the afternoon today. I won't tell you his name. Visualizing trends, automating interviews, all of these. There is an exit interview and an entry interview. There is even a stay interview. New term. They're calling it stay interview. Another term I heard recently, flight risk evaluation. Flight risk evaluation. They're basically evaluating whether you are a flight risk for the company. Yeah? But all this obsession about performance, all this obsession about retention, who do you retain? There was this classic time when data used to be marked on a bell curve and the bottom 1/5 was already every year cut off GE times. But there was an experiment conducted by this guy, William Moore, at Purdue in 2005. And this man gives this classic story of how he tried to breed egg-laying chicken. He wanted to basically boost egg productivity. And he identified that there was an average flock. And there were a few that were super. So he made the mistake of putting all these super egg producers together in a separate flock. So the average flock and the super egg producing flock. Nice idea, because that's what we all do, right? Superstars in one team, that team is a crack team. right? Rest of the world can't think. 6 generations later, the average flock was still doing fine, laying those 3 eggs every day, happily eating, giving. What happened to the super duper flock? All but 3 were dead. Repeated multiple times, proven experiment. And he has posted a thesis about its applicability to human teams too. The reason all but 3 were dead, the competition became intense, the alpha quality, right? People wanted to succeed at the expense of the failure of the others. That's not what you want in a team. How will you merge the experiment into your performance management, into your retention and attrition? Will you always keep the best in your team? Or will you find the best place for each person with each background and each ability in your team? IPL teaches us a lot of lessons. We can do one whole session on it. That's team management. I don't know if that can be factored into an algorithm, not yet. The last one is DEI and belonging, diversity, equity, inclusivity. This is one thing AI claims to do, technology promises to do. It says, I will do a bias audit. I will look at numbers. I will look at remuneration. I will look at global spread, racial spread, gender spread, and I'll do an audit. I'll look at all your website content. I'll see if it is woke enough. I'll review. Hey guys, no, you have to use folks instead. I'll review all your speeches. I'll review all your documentation. We'll go beyond just compliance, because if you have to attract Gen Z and Gen Alpha, you need to be inclusive. I'll track representation, I'll have gap analysis, I'll have dashboards. You can set goals, and I'll keep telling you how close to those goals you have reached. Amazing technology, people can't do, people are biased, people are limited, people come with preconceived notions. Technology promises to be that nirvana, that panacea, that can solve this problem once and for all. But, unfortunately, please keep this picture in mind. This is what AI is today. Remember? Past, present and future. This is what it is today. They call it the stochastic parrot. It has digested everything you have ever said. It will never repeat what you said. But if you look deep enough, if you look narrowly enough, you will understand that it is putting pieces together from stuff you have said before. It's been proven time and again, and there is this hallucination bit too. How are you going to solve those? And if you want to cure your company, your organization of such biases, will you give it the input of millions of man-hours of work, not man-hours, person-hours. Person-hours of work that has been creating this internet till now? Because what has it eaten? It has not eaten unbiased content. It has eaten biased content. It has eaten content from a Silicon Valley where there are more CEOs whose first name is John than there are women CEOs. Drink that in. Today in Silicon Valley, I'm not saying there are more men CEOs than women. I'm saying there are more men CEOs with their first name John than there are women CEOs. And that's the content this is eaten. And you want to take its advice for implementing DEI in your company? Think again. Alright. This is one way to look at it. This is the other way to look at it. But I'm going to share with you, I have 27 seconds. 5 more minutes, yeah? Thanks. Okay. I'm going to share with you 4 little stories, even if you don't believe all the stuff I told you till now. These are from them. I'm going to sit back and watch along with you. 4 different stories. From Google Gemini, from a Nobel laureate, from Brad Pitt, and from this guy, some of you may recognize him, Laszlo Bock, who is ex-HR head at Google. Let's start with number one. While preparing for this deck yesterday, I asked this question: can you generate an image of a human hand holding a nail 6 inches long? Fact. It gave me the answer. Gemini. Beautiful. Here's the image. And then I followed up. I want the nail to be even longer and thicker. No, see, they've all had this experience, but this is where AI is. And we are laughing at it because we immediately understand the visual joke. But the joke is on us if this is happening with content, with predictions, with insights. What if this is happening inside your AI engine? Have you thought about it? Are you having that human in the loop? Is my question. Number two. This is a beautiful movie, 2013. It's called World War Z. And while Gemini is confusing between nail and nail, World War Z talks about a specific time where there is a zombie apocalypse. Everywhere, overrun by zombies. But one little town, somewhere in Israel, has created a 100-foot wall around the town, and they are saved by attacks. Brad Pitt goes there by helicopter, meets those people, wants to know, how did you think different? And this is Brad Pitt's, and this is that man's answer. And that gives us an insight about how human thinking, that intellect, probably holds an unwinnable proposition. Watch.
Jürgen Warmbrand, high-ranking official in the Mossad, described as sober, efficient, not terribly imaginative. And yet, you build a wall because you read a communique that mentions the word zombie?
Well, if you put it like that, I'd be skeptical as well. In the 30s, Jews refused to believe they could be sent to concentration camps. In 72, we refused to fathom we'd be massacred in the Olympics. And a month before October 1973, we saw Arab troop movements, and we unanimously agreed they didn't pose a threat. Well, a month later, the Arab attack almost drove us into the sea. So we decided to make a change. Change? The 10th man. If 9 of us with the same information arrive at the exact same conclusion, it's the duty of the 10th man to disagree. No matter how improbable it may seem, the 10th man has to start making the assumption that the other 9 were wrong.
And you were the 10th man.
Precisely.
The idea of a 10th man. Any algorithm, I am a programmer myself. It will look for majority wins. It will be happy when it sees unanimity. Look at the master stroke here. If there are 10 people in your boardroom and 9 of them say, yes, let's do it, is there that 10th man or woman? Or is that person you who says, wait, I don't know what's wrong, but we will have to find out something is wrong. Go back to the drawing board. Have you done that? Think about that. That is a human intellect, emotion. This is by Daron Acemoglu. Daron Acemoglu is the Nobel Prize winning economics, Nobel Prize winning professor from MIT, 2024 Nobel Prize. And he says only 1% of the world economy is going to be impacted by AI. And he says many other things. I'll play a short snippet from an interview of him I watched just a couple of days ago. It's got some beautiful messages. He busts the AI hype from MIT Sloan.
Places where we need a lot of judgment or social interaction or social intelligence, I think are still beyond the capabilities of AI. But I don't expect any occupation that we have today to have been eliminated in 5 or 10 years' time. we are not developing AI in the best possible way. And that best possible way is much more pro-human. It's much more targeted at working with human decision makers. It requires a bigger celebration of the places where AI is better than humans and the places where humans are better than AI. And once you take that approach, I think the biggest promise is using AI for providing new goods and services, new ways of doing things for humans. My recommendation to business leaders would be, don't be taken by the hype. I think the hype is an enemy of business success. Instead, think where my most important resource, which is your human resource, can be better deployed, and how can I leverage that human resource together with technology, together with data, so that I increase people's efficiency and I enable them to create better and newer goods and services.
Quickly, I'll finish off. This is the last one I told you about. This is from a book called Work Rules. Insights from inside Google that will transform how you live and lead. And he starts with this. You either believe people are fundamentally good or you don't. Ask yourself that question first. And then he says, if you do believe they are good, then as an entrepreneur, team member, team leader, manager, or CEO, you should act in a way that's consistent with your beliefs. Work is far less meaningful and pleasant than it needs to be, because well-intentioned leaders don't believe on a primal level that people are good. Organizations build immense bureaucracies to control their people. These control structures are an admission that people can't be trusted. Or at best, they suggest that one's baser nature can be controlled and channeled by some enlightened figure with the wisdom to know what is best. That the nature of man is bad and must be forged through rules, rewards, and punishments. There are two extreme models of how organizations should be run. The low freedom extreme is the command and control organization, where employees are managed tightly, worked intensely, and discarded. The high freedom extreme is based on liberty, where employees are treated with dignity and given a voice in how the company evolves. Both models can yield success, perhaps, but only in one of them can everybody be truly happy. I would like to be in such company. How about you?
Thank you so much, Raj, for this compelling session. Truly cracking the eternal enigma for all the HR leaders out there. Thank you so much. So before we get into the next session, a quick announcement. We have a lot of seats up here in the front. So please take the time now to move up if you'd like to have a closer look at the speakers and the presentations. So request to you all, we have some vacant seats up here in the front. So please take the time now if you'd like to move up here. Great. Now, as we all know, one of the key themes of HRizon is reimagining work. So this next session, this industry keynote, is all about redesigning HR from the ground up by Mr. Amit Kumar Rai, CHRO of Tata Play Fiber, also a HR leader and a digital transformation expert, with over 16 plus years driving HR and digital initiatives in telecom and FMCG spheres. Now he's passionate about leveraging technology to enhance employee experience and drive business results with expertise in talent acquisition, engagement, performance management, and organizational design. From factories to corporate headquarters, he has led HR transformations across diverse roles, diverse industries. Now, he is surely the one to talk in this session, having built and scaled Tata Play Fiber's HR from the ground up. A very good cheer to welcome Mr. Amit Kumar Rai, CHRO of Tata Play Fiber on stage, please, for his session and the industry keynote.
Thank you. So when I was walking up, I thought I'll ask first question, but with Ms. Dandapani's address, I thought I have two questions now. Now, the first question that comes to my mind is that with AI, do you think we'll become more human-centric or not? So I leave that up to you. I think it's a choice. There are primary work, there are secondary work, where we put in our effort, what we choose would decide whether we become human-centric or not. Now coming back to the topic, show of hands, if you have led digital transformation for your organization, or you have participated in your digital transformation journey anywhere. And when I talk about digital transformation, I'm talking about HR implementation or any module of HR like performance management, it can be attendance management. Just raise your hand. And if you're from business side, it can be CRM implementation, it can be sentiment analysis, it can be NPS implementation. Okay, I expected more hands to get up, but still okay, I think more than 60%. Staggering 70% of all digital transformation initiatives fail to reach their stated goals. It is as per McKinsey. So whatever we have been doing, if we take 70% of that, it's not reaching its stated goal. And I would want you to hold on to this thought and we'll reflect on it. Before I jump in, I should talk about my organization. I represent Tata Play Fiber. Tata Play Fiber is Class A ISP. ISP stands for Internet Service Provider. We started our journey in 2018. Right now we are operating in 16 cities and towns where we have 4 lakh customers. And we are a part of Tata Play, 100% subsidiary. The purpose of Tata Play was to offer multi-play services. When I say multi-play, it is DTH, broadband, voice, and OTT all together from same window to consumer. So it becomes one unified solution. Today we operate with approximately 1,500 employees on roll, off roll put together. About me, I think she has given a decent amount of introduction, so I will not delve, but I have worked in factories. I have led transformation projects in Coca-Cola when I was working with them. Here I not only deal with transformation in HR, but I deal with transformation for the business, all the functions put together. Now, redesigning HR in next 20 minutes or so, we will talk about the journey that we have taken, how it has unfolded, what were the learnings, and we will make an attempt at how it will look for us in future. In the entire course, there are few concepts that I wanted to land with you. I have used some engineering concept. I hope it goes well with you, and otherwise we can have a discussion around it. So, redesigning HR rounds up. If you look at, there are 3 aspects coming out of it. One is scalability, second is smartness, third is human-centered approach. And if you take these 3 aspects and create a Venn diagram, you get 4 intersection points, 4 mutually exclusive intersection points. A, which is the intersection of human-centered and scalable. B, which is the combination, is the intersection of smart and scalable. And C, which is the intersection of human-centered and smart. So if you look at these intersections, will give you 3 pillars. These 3 pillars are the most important thing for any transformation to succeed. One is vision, the second is resource and the platform, and third is the capability. And if all these factors work in tandem, you succeed. And I will not say that we are on the 30% side. I think every organization which will take transformation journey will take a different 70% to come on the 30% side. I told you to hold on to the thought when I made the first statement, so that is the study done by McKinsey, and you can go and assess that. It is common pitfalls that you see in digital transformation. Another study was unlocking success in digital transformation. They also identified these three primary drivers to have a successful transformation in an organization. And it talks and it corroborates to what I was talking about in the previous slide. So is the vision void? How you are aligning your organization in a direction that you want to propel, how well you are articulating, how well you are talking to your leaders becomes very important. The human element is the culture that we are talking about. Bridging the gap. The skills, the capability, whether you have capability to execute, and the challenge of legacy system. Do you have the platforms which is enabling people to create what they want to? So it is important that all these parameters work in tandem for you to have amazing transformation. So I'm now reflecting back on our story. It was 2019. So when I left Coca-Cola and I was about to join Tata Play Fiber, so I had few things in my mind that what kind of organization I want, what kind of systems I want to create, but one thing was very clear, that I wanted to pivot everything around digital. And I firmly believe that there are primary jobs and secondary jobs. Primary jobs would be human-centered, and secondary job has to be digitized, to be automated, and to be scaled. So my first, and I think if you look at our own, so take a minute and think about our evolution of our own function. Go back in time. In 1900s, we started with welfare as a welfare officers. Then we moved to labor relations. From there, we became PMIR, personal management. Then came HR. Then came today digital age HR. What do you think is the consistent? Why the transformation has happened? If you take a moment, you will realize there were triggers. There was scientific management. F.W. Taylor was creating lines where scientific management was coming into picture. The industries were coming in. The relationships were becoming complex, and hence it was important for us to have someone managing those labor relations. Then came in the motivation theories, the learning theories, that moved our focus from labor relations to PMIR. So it's the intent that I'm trying to tell you is that it's very important to look at triggers. The triggers are important for you to decide when you will transform. So either you create those triggers in the organization, or you find those triggers and use it to initiate your transformation journey. For me, the day I walked in, I was randomly filling up papers, around 18 papers. I wrote Amit Kumar Rai 6-7 times on different forms. The data was here, so whenever I wanted to look at any data point, you have to go, take out the file, look at data, use it. So it was not, it was discrete, it was not very intuitive, and if you want to ask questions, yeah, you have to find a time, schedule a call, and then have a conversation. So these were our triggers to onboard on our transformation journey. So in order to take up this transformation journey, we said that we need gauge. We need a gauge that whenever we are thinking of a solution, it should pass by these gauges. The first gauge was digitally intelligent. If I'm filling up my name at one place, it should get filled up everywhere where it is taking my name. Second, it should aid to employee convenience. Now, because I want data, I should not create a 2-page form and let it employee fill it up for me. So it should aid to employee convenience. Third was DIY culture. I said that we are not going to train. We'll make it that intuitive, like a WhatsApp, where you chat, you talk, and you will do it by yourself. I don't have to come and teach you how to book your travel. I will not come and teach you how to get a certificate, a bona fide certificate that you want for your door. We will not do that. Everything will be pull-based system and it will be DIY. And fourth, it all be integrated. So my expense system would know that somebody has been onboarded and people, it will trigger it to Ola. Ola will give you the OTP and you take the travel, so and so forth. Another bit in the entire journey that we have done, generally what we do with when we have a platform with us, we take the process, we use the platform and we codify it. When we were making our modules, we said that, hey, wait a minute, is it really important that we curate the process as it is what we have today? Or can we use the standard processes in most of the cases? We realized that 70% of the times we ended up using. There were 3 levels of approval, not knowing that why it was there. So we reduced it because platform was giving us 2 levels of approval. If we wanted the 3rd level of approval, we wanted the entire customization. We wanted somebody to come and work and create a non-standard module. Now, we know the power of standardization. It explodes, it scales. So in this 5 out of 9 module that got implemented, we have used 70% the standard features that platform was giving us. Obviously, there were certain use cases where we had to go for customization and we did. And the second bit where we came up, we realized, so I'm not a great fan of big bangs. I believe that if you really want a transformation, it should be an incremental step. You take 1 step, you take 2nd step, and every increment that you're making, it should be better than the previous step. And over the period, you will realize that you have really come far. So instead of launching all our modules together, we launched every module month after month after month, and we did that for 5 months. So employees were thinking that something is coming, and that led to 94% adoption. In fact, we did some gamification. We gave out Amazon vouchers to find bugs in our system, and it was not about bug finding, it's about the utilizing it. Once you start using the platform, you associate with the platform, and then you move ahead. And that has happened well for us. So I told you that I will use certain concepts to land my principles here. So assume this is a box which is your organization. A and B is the length and breadth of your organization. My approach to change, to transform, is you divide the entire organization into small finite elements. Take a small finite, call it DX. Apply the entire change management there. I was talking about macro factors, micro factors impacting change, because every box will have different micro factors impacting digital transformation, or for that matter, any transformation. So, finite element method talks about if you really want to analyze a very complex system, take the complex system, divide into very small minuscule items, elements called finite elements, do the entire analysis, do the entire execution, and then integrate. So you do integration, have the finite element, have the DX, and similarly create those pockets of excellence. Start with HR, then you go to finance, go to sales, and once you start doing it in one of the regions, in one of the geographies, you will realize that you have come far. And this is how you socialize transformation within the organization. This is our journey. This is how we, in 2019, where the app was designed, is what we thought of. You can see we are using Zoho as a platform. We are generating. So it's a combination of creator, auto assignment of goals are happening here. So you have role-basis goals we have. So all the government forms are digitized. This is expense standard feature. Expense are getting digitally made. People are just curating. We don't generate a single paper in our expense. So it's reading. This is live mileage tracking. This is only visible to the employee. This is as an employee we have taken all the privacy principles we take into account. But this is like you can actually start, you can go close at end of it. It will create expense for you for that travel. So stop tracking, you have to go check which wheeler you have taken as per your policy. It will give you that feature. It will make an expense for you. Expense goes. When I said that we want to be a pull-based and DIY, this is a merchandise portal. So we don't distribute uniforms directly. We have created a portal where you can go and place order. So there's a shirt there, and whatever we want to, we put it there, people order. And from various vendors all across India, it gets fulfilled. So the intent of creating those gauges that I have shown it to you, that 4 gauges to be in line in whatever we do. So whatever we have done till now and whatever we'll be doing in future, we'll follow those principles. Over and above, we have put a WhatsApp layer. So if you look at 70% of transactions, the WhatsApp approval, leave approvals, it take time where you have to do 3 clicks. Now by putting a WhatsApp layer, you can approve, you can look, you can direct everything. So I talk about what are the outcomes of it. So this has happened. So this is starting again. So because of that, today our onboarding that is 75% less. LOPs, because now you don't have, because everything is getting on WhatsApp, you're approving on WhatsApp, it becomes easier. Your leave approval time, although it was not very high for us, 38 hours, now it is within 7 hours. It's just that whenever you look at WhatsApp, you just click it, records. We have saved a lot of papers, a lot of signatures. And this has happened because of the integration that we have done, that we have thought of. And to an extent in this world, it is possible. So I spoke about that somebody is getting onboarded on Zoho. People, every other system is knowing and every other system is acting as per that. So right now I gave you everything from an HR's lens. This is from a business lens, the cost bit. So when I talk about the autonomous governance, we looked at, and because of GPS tracking, because of dashboarding, because of the integrated system, our travel cost for our people has been consistent for last 5 years. There are a few spikes because of COVID. Otherwise, it has been consistent, and we don't actively track it. It is all by DIY, all by systems. So now I have spoken to you about how we transform and the small DX in the entire organization, that finite element. Now the next level was that how should we take that for the entire organization? It's not about HR would transform the entire organization. You need every function, for that matter, every employee to come and transform. So we said that how will you do it? So the entire concept came on my way to Pune from Mumbai. I was driving with my CEO and I was having a conversation with him. I said that, sir, why don't we form a digital team? बोले करेगी क्या? मैं बोला, we will be a collaborative where I think Nandapani said that if you get passionate people come together and you give them the context, it's not about whether you have technical expertise or not, you can solve for the organization. So we got a collaborative group, which is, they were passionate about technology, we picked up, and we said that every function will have a representation in that group. That function, so that group becomes the single point of contact for all the priorities and deliveries. Generally, if you look at, and I think in next slide it will become clear, how we set priorities. Every function will reach to IT for any development. The developments then gets executed and delivered. But if as an HR you will go, as a marketing you will go, as a sales you will go, the priority is there. The customer will get the first priority. Certain functions would get less. So we said that we will not look at any priorities basis the function, we will look at from what we are solving. We have changed our position. So we look at from a priority funnel which says compliance has to be solved for first, followed by customers, and third productivity. And that's the yardstick. If productivity is coming from HR or marketing, we do not care. We look at the value in the role that, or in the goal that, or in the project that you've gotten, we use that. Technically, initially we were only building all the solutions on the platforms, but we said that there are a lot of solutions outside. Can we look at build versus buy decisions? And we told that if you are asking for requirement, it is your responsibility to participate in UAT. So in our organization today, most of the UAT is done by the business. Whatever you have asked for, are you getting it in the right sense or not? You will say yes. It's not after the delivery you'll come back and say that this is not something that I've asked for. So I was explaining this, that initially all the functions went to IT. IT will execute that, will go to a few vendors and deliver the project. With digital team coming in, the concept changed a bit. And I think the most important bit was the advent of low code and no code. I think I was having a conversation with Sunil in 2020 when he introduced me to this concept. He said that low code kar lenge. So and a lot of problems. Say for example, a sales guy working in Bandra wants to have a customer data, customer sentiment. He will just create a link, send that in WhatsApp group and collect the data. And if you start doing that in every pocket, in every geography, in every area, you will transform. People are solving for themselves. What you need is again the triangulation of factors that I've spoken about. You need vision. You can show them the path. Second, you need platforms. And if your platforms are intelligent enough. And third is capability. With low code and no code, you don't need that much capability. So digital team, so whatever we were doing, we were not doing in disassociation with IT. We went and spoke to them. We told them what we were doing. But they were not actively involved. It freed up a lot of time for them to work on customer problems. And that's core for the business. All the peripheral problems were being solved by people there using the platforms. And then we realized that from Zoho people, we need to add too many apps for sales and marketing. And I think in 2021, we moved from Zoho people to Zoho One. Take a moment and think about this graph, what it tells you. By the way, app utilization is number of users using the app. So if you look at on a timeline, it tells you. And if you look at this particular graph, what is the conclusion? Now, I'm not looking for an answer, I'll just conclude that for you. It says that it stays stagnant. This is our own journey. And I want to re-emphasize that transformation is a long-run process. It's a quasi-static process. You will not know that how much time it will be. So more time you spend. So over the period, generally we look at very small phases and we become very excited or very unhappy with the outcome that we get. In our organization, although we have gone through that sentiment too, we were unhappy in certain phases. But from 2019 or 20 till today, our adoption, our rate has been good. And that's what the reinforcement point is, that we should see transformation as a long-run process. I think I need a breather, so I give you a quiz. You just take a time and see if you can solve this for you. So the point is, once you will solve it, you will realize there are multiple ways to solve the second equation, one way to solve first equation. Second, in the second equation, you can move from RHS to LHS to solve, to balance. Generally, we have been trained to look at RHS and solve for LHS and solve for RHS. Transformation is not like that. Behaviors are not like that. If you think that if you want to come to equilibrium, you can play with RHS, you can play with LHS. So this is one of the attempts that we did. So we were facing a lot of challenges with our 1,300 people, and onboarding was taking a lot of time. And the biggest problem was the adoption to the platform. Then we decided, why can't we start with the interface first and then decide that what kind of backend we'll have. We created WhatsApp interface. Today, although it is very monolithic, you need to put in a lot of efforts to upgrade this, but still it is solving, very simple, but it's still solving problem for us. Here, we do recruitment, we create vacancies, we take assessment feedbacks, we onboard, we take data, and everything happens in 30 minutes. As an onboarding, which was taking 1.5 days, now happens in 30 minutes. It has really solved for us. Whether it will sustain whatever we have for future, probably not, because things are becoming complex, you need to train them, you cannot do everything there. But I'm saying at that moment it made, so the point is, do we need LHS solving for RHS, or we can look at from multi-directions to solve for what you have. So here, the front-end screen came first before the back-end. Now moving ahead, and so that I have spoken about that what we have done, how we have done, where we are. I have shown you a certain amount of data as well, that how we are doing decently well. Another thing that I want to emphasize that in our journey we have taken our dip in 70% so many times. So many times that at some point of time we felt like giving it up. In certain pockets, well, finance to karega hi nahi. So the point is that those moments would come in. It's a long-run process, stay with that. Now, but it's important to talk about how it will look in the future. So, if you look at the entire pegging, we talk about digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation. We generally use it interchangeably, but it's not. If you look at the real transformation comes with change in mindset. It comes with people joining the force. For us, we believe this digital transformation will evolve. And that evolution will come on a pivot of AI. And that's why we have put digital transformation with AI, raised to AI. And we are calling this as a business transformation. So going forward, our transformation would have AI feature, AI outlook to every solution that we will build. So that's the equation, business transformation. PT is equal to PT into DT into IT. It is very important that you simplify the process before transforming it. It becomes far less effort-worthy when you have solved or simplified the process. Digital transformation, you have a lot of tools where you will change your analog signals into digital signals, digitize, make it digital intelligent. And third is you add intelligence to it. Look at the patterns. The point is, and I think the first question when I raised it, although I'll come to that later on, but it is very important that once you have your entire digital transformation or the transformation working for you, you have time for yourself. Then you can focus on employee conversation. I believe today we are busy with so many of redundant work where we are analyzing Excels, we are analyzing data, where we are not getting time to do or have an actual conversation with our employees. And I think these systems, these backend systems, these secondary systems, if they will take that load, we have. But yeah, still, the choice would be ours. So, I'm just finishing it up. So, what I have spoken about, the balance of triangulation of factors. It is vision, resources and platforms and capability in tandem decides how your transformation journey would be. It's a long run process. You have to stay with it. You leave it, it is gone. You have to start from zero, and we have learned this. Break down the entire complex system into small, finite elements and solve for those. And then move from there to next one, and then next one, and then you will realize that you have really walked a mile. Simplify the process before digitizing. Simple has a great power of penetrating, making it simple, adaptability, so and so forth. I believe AI is enabler, collaborate, the handshake in the PPT that Mr. Dandapani showed. It's very important that we collaborate, use it for our advantage. And it's an iterative process. You have to take a dip on that 70% side to be on this 30% side. I will end with this quote. I draw a lot of inspiration from animated movies. This particular dialogue is from Moana 2. It's a conversation happening between Moana and Matangi, one of the characters, who says, a true wayfinder does not know the path at all. And that's the whole point, to find your way to what's never been found. So my digital journey, our transformation journey, the path that we have found is not something that you will find. You will find your own path. It's just that we do not know. We just have to explore. So you can take bits and bits from here, but the path has to be explored and to be found by you. And with this, I guess, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the practical session, for giving us a peek into actually how your organization operates with Zoho people and then Zoho One. Thank you so much for keeping it real and practical. Now I request Mr. Raja Ramasamy, the Director of Product Management for Zoho's HR apps, to present a memento to serve as a token of our gratitude. Please put your hands together. Thank you so much. And this is the time for us to break open for a quick networking break. So I think we all require refreshments now. So we'll now break open for a quick 15-minute break. Welcome back after a refreshing break, everyone. Now, so far we've had two powerful keynotes in the morning session. And here I am to announce the first panel of the day. Now that our world of work is all digital and people remain at the heart of everything we do in human resources, how do we reimagine human resources with this the case? This question is exactly what we'll be handling on the panel. Find out in this session moderated by Mr. Sunil Lalwani, Vice President of Sales, Zoho Corporation. Please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Sunil Lalwani on stage, please. Thank you, Sunil. And next on the panel, we have Mr. Pavan, HR Associate Director of Meesho, a HR leader with over 5+ years of experience driving HR tech, payroll, compliance, and operations. Previously leading HR transformations and people operations at PhonePe and MetLife, he is renowned for streamlining processes, ensuring compliance, and fostering collaborative, inclusive workplaces, and one of Zoho people's favorite customers. No Zoholics goes by without having him on the panel. So please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Pavan Haran for us. Thank you. And next up on panel, we have Mr. Sashikant Jayaraman, CHRO and Chief of Staff, Multi-Coware. Now, Sashi is a dynamic HR leader with over 20 years of experience across diverse industries including BPO, BFSI, retail, IT services and startups. He has held key HR roles at ABN AMRO, Reliance Retail, Bajaj Alliance and TVS & Sons. As founder of a successful HR consulting startup, he has worked closely with CXOs and startup founders on many transformation projects. He also leads HR Sangam, a vibrant HR community. A passionate mentor and speaker, Sashi actively engages in teaching, coaching and in industry forums as well. Now, he's been recognized among India's top 100 HR leaders and great people managers. So please give it up for Mr. Sashikant Jayaraman, CHRO and Chief of Staff Management. Thank you, and I'll leave it over to Sunil and the panel. Thank you, everyone. So sorry about that. Yeah, we have one more person welcoming yet again Mr. Amit Kumar Rai, the CHRO of Tata Play Fiber, also HR leader and digital transformation expert as part of the panel. A round of applause for Mr. Amit, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope I'm audible. Lights are a little bright, so just perfect. Thank you so much. Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for turning out in large numbers. Before we start, and before I speak to our esteemed panelists, maybe just a quick show of hands. How many of you in the room here have used AI for personal usage? Any of the AI tools for personal? Yeah. So I'm not surprised in context of the number of hands that went up. Now, as HR professionals and leaders, how many of you have used it in your workspace more from an HR context? It's a reasonably decent number, but around 30-40% is what I put it as. That's an interesting way to, look at it. I personally tried it in a different context. It's here, you have to adopt it. The practicality and the use case needs to be looked at. So I'll give you just my 30 seconds before I start the panel discussion. I started my journey coincidentally the same year Zoho was incorporated. My grey hair shows that, right? So it's been 29 years in the industry, and over these years, I started my career with an Indian company, purely in India, just for India. I moved on to work for 2 American companies, a French company, a Canadian company, and back again to an Indian multinational. That's what Zoho is today. One of the things that always intrigued me is this whole talk about culture. And I equated culture with, let's try and map it with attrition. What keeps Zoho's attrition possibly one of the lowest in the tech industry today? And you can look it up, it's all available online in terms of the tech industry adoption, attrition rates, etc. And I tried to use, I won't name which AI tools I use, I tried 2 of them. Try to analyze what's causing this attrition amongst these companies I work for. And it came from a practical side. I worked for these companies, some of them as long as 8 years, some for 6 years. So I knew the inherent DNA of the company, the leadership, the cultural fabric of the company. And AI threw up a lot of fascinating insights for me. But, I must add that but not completely accurate. And that's going back to Raj's point in his presentation this morning. We've got to take the human element into this before we believe everything that tool throws back at us. As HR professionals, you cannot discount the empathy factor, the cultural fabric that you all live and breathe every day in the organization. You can't believe all the machine learning tools that are out there and what's going back at you. So keep that in mind in terms of take whatever you get with a pinch of salt and say, is it something that we need to just buy on face value or revalue? But I'm talking from my practical example myself. So we get going. Maybe Shashi, I'll start with you. Just from both an introduction and, like I like to call it in cricket parlance, you all grew up with gully cricket in some ways, or trial ball, so to say. So a little bit about both your company and your core HR tech stack as you adopted it, because you are dealing with global customers, you're also competing with some large giants worldwide. So maybe help the audience understand your current HR tech stack.
Thanks Sunil, thanks Zoho for this opportunity. Namaskara, Bengaluru, Vanakkam from Chennai. You said trial ball, right?
Yes.
I hope to answer with trial and error, as long as the audience doesn't put me under trial. I represent Multicore. We are a global AI company. How many of you here use Amazon Prime? Netflix? Okay, the software that we create is into video processing, and that powers Amazon Prime and Netflix on the back end. So that's the kind of work that we do. Because of the video processing capabilities, the kind of work that we do also finds radar signal processing capabilities in autonomous mobility. So we power autonomous vehicles across the globe through the codes that we write. That's about the company. So coming from a deep tech organization, the biggest assumption that we make is, hey, we are all techies, therefore people will adopt technology in their day-to-day lives of the workplace seamlessly. So that was a trial that didn't go well. So what we do is our HR tech stack is revolving around 3 pillars of integration, intelligence, and experience. When I say integration, you have the entire hiring to retiring life cycle where it is completely integrated with HR systems. In each of the functions, be it L&D, be it talent acquisition, be it the component, there is a tech enabler, or even engagement for that matter. There is a tech enabler in every single domain of HR that we offer to the employees. You talk about intelligence, you have a layer of data that you keep getting in every day, right, through your employees, people who walk in, right from what is their happiness index, what is their sentiment analysis, and things like that, right? What do we do with this data? Being an AI company, it's imperative that you also make use of data and then enable your decisions accordingly, right? Then at the next level, you have tech enabling us in every operational aspect of our HR function. You have data that is coming, which enables us at a decision level. And then we talk about experience. To us, we are a tech company, but we are very proud to say that empathy and trust are at the core of our HR philosophy, right? To me, that's the foundation around which technology is built. So, I come from a traditional school of thought in HR. I believe there has to be a good employee is to HR ratio. How much ever technology comes and permeates into our functions, it is necessary that in an increasingly digital world, in a world where we are getting more and more nuclear, where we are confining our time to our mobile phones and our gadgets, it is necessary that we offer the face time. So HR is to employee ratio is probably the highest in the market that I operate in my organization, right? We want to make sure that whatever tech we have, don't adopt technology, but continue to keep the function humanized. That is how I would summarize.
I think that's excellent, Shashi. I mean, that's very refreshing actually to hear, especially when you hear of tech companies trying to go the other way. This is welcome actually. Pawan, my next question is to you. I mean, Misho needs no introduction, I'm sure, to a lot of our audience, but from your perspective, and I won't call it a trial ball for you, because a little more, because you have a huge amount of workers, employees. You also were possibly one of the pioneers in the remote work from home. Of course, it's changed now. But just walk us through a people first initiative that made a tangible difference to your workplace cultures.
Sure. First of all, thank you. And coming to Zoho is like coming to my home, right? And that is how it is for me. And thanks for it. And in fact, I was talking to one of the leaders of Zoho people. I just realized that I know team of Zoho from past 8-9 years for now. So even in my previous company, we were using Zoho people, and even today we are using Zoho people. So Zoho people has become a homely software or homely tool for us, right? And coming back to your question, yeah, anybody who has not shopped in Misho here, or should I say that anybody? Thanks. If not shopped, please, I request you to please shop and share your experience. That's very helpful. And yeah, for the people whom I think, not sure if everybody knows this. Misho is not like other e-commerce companies. The major business for our stake is from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. And that is how Misho is different from all other e-commerce companies. Not sure if everybody would have known this, but if not known, this is a news for you guys. And this is how Meesho works, and this is how Meesho is profitable today. Right? And coming back to the question, as I said, the reason why I said we are more in tier 2 and tier 3 cities is we believe people, right? We believe culture. Culture and people are more important for us, especially with the employee experience for HR, right? The centricity of people is very important. And when we say that we are having employees working from different cities, especially tier 2 and tier 3 cities, we expect that we believe in their requirement that they will have to work remotely, and we believe that they will have an impact and they can also give a very good impact for a company when they are working remotely, right? And they could have, we had a process where people can log in from anywhere within the world, right? And they can work, and we believe them. And we empathized it, and we used to do it, and we got good returns from employees, and employees were very happy having this, right? And this is what it is. And I think there are also many people who have heard, considering that majority of the people are from the HR background, that we were I think the only company or the first company to say that when it is your festival, especially the times like Diwali, right? We were the company where we used to say that just pack up your bags and close your laptop, shut down your laptops for entire 9 days or 10 days, right? And you are not supposed to work for these days. It's off, right? It's a vacation. Not all companies are following this, but there are some companies who started following this, and we were the first initiative which we need to bring. And this is something that we always believe our employees, that we always try to get some good employee experience with the culture. Culture is very important for us. And with this, we believe employees and employees believe us. And that is a trust what we have with both of them. So these are some good initiatives, and additionally to it, we're also seen in majority of the ports where we also have infinite leaves, which without having any questions, people can apply for infinite leaves. So there are some various employee experience which we have built in for employees, and this is what for us the employee experience is.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks for that. Amit, you don't get a trial ball because you hit the keynote session was a 6 out of the park straight away. So no trial ball for you. Next question is actually for all three of you. Maybe Amit, you could start, or any one of you. Right? So AI is now becoming the theme of every event that at least personally I've attended in the last 2 years. As HR professionals, as leaders, there is this key aspect of speed and agility. There's this whole aspect of digital transformation and using AI tools. How do you, as all three of you, question is all three of you, as HR professionals, how do you balance that with what I mentioned earlier, the cultural fabric or the human aspect of empathy in an organization? How do you really take care of both those aspects? Use this.
I think first bit is your foundational layer. And if your foundational layer is there, that is built on culture. AI, digitization, that's a secondary layer that comes on it. So you cannot have your AI as a primary layer. And if you talk about our organization, our parent organization, culture is something that we have been imbibing. So we know Tata's, we know how we be. So it is the outlook, it's what you believe in people. So AI would always be top layer, and foundational layer is empathy. So what we do, what we look at, how we look at ethics would always be the most important aspect before we move to AI, leverage it, use it for solving our problems. So we have built that foundation, and whatever we are building, because of that strong foundation, things are succeeding now.
Thanks. Shashi?
We're talking about rapid innovation, things like that, right? So, see, there are 3 S that matters to me. It's not just about speed. Why are we talking about speed? Because companies want to scale, right? Where there is scale, there has to be speed. Or where there is speed, it has to gain a purpose through scale. But the third S is more important, which is sustainability, right? To me, if there are tech changes that are happening, right? The culture has to be a fundamental bedrock which must be open to improve or get better, but must not be subjected to constant chopping and changing. If you look at overall let's take HRMS for an example, right? And being in an event hosted by Zoho, let's talk practically. And I can tell this with a lot of pride. I've been a Zoho people, user, evangelist, customer for more than 10 years now, right? I've stayed put with one HRMS, right? In the name of adding, improvising, in the name of finding that little bit better, hey, that looks better than this one. We keep changing our HRMS every 2 years. And that's not something that I will advocate, right? What eventually happens is you add this, we talk about horses for courses approach, okay? Chalo, for engagement you take this, for performance appraisal you take this, for recruitment you take that ATS, for pulse survey you take something else. You try to have about 5 apps, 6 apps in the app, on your laptop, on your phone. It bombards your end user. I would look at one single ecosystem which serves my cultural tenets and then build further on it, right? Speed to me is not about going as fast as you can. It is about gaining a certain flow. If I'm able to reach a certain flow, then the momentum is there. It's easy to say, I'm just going with the flow. You are well integrated, right? Speed must be part of your culture. It cannot be force-fitted and said, you know what, today we are in X, in 2 years we need to be at 10X, let's do this. Toxicity of the workplace is increasing. You are increasingly looking at burnout, mental health issues and whatnot, and tech cannot solve this. I can tell you. Tech can give you data. You still need a human interface to go and say, culturally, I want to listen, right? We, as organizations, a lot of us put emphasis on spending money on technology. How much time are we spending on listening to my end user, who's my employee or customer, whatever you call it, right? To me, I exist because I have an employee to use. So, rapid changes, I would say, stick with one, build your ecosystem around it, and then ensure that it caters to your culture well, it caters to the momentum that you want to sustain. Not the speed. Speed can vary, but the flow is what you need to aim for. That's how I would put it.
Well, thank you. Okay.
Yeah. For me, what I always feel is we can use AI. There is no wrong in using AI. AI is always good for people how to use it, but we should be very careful. In fact, I was looking into one of the presentation earlier, right? There's a difference between male and male, right? So that is how AI should be. And we should use it in the intelligent way, and what is that we use is very important. And moreover, how much ever AI we use, what I always feel is, it helps in our routine work, it speeds up. I agree with everything. I am not denying it. But what I feel is, as an HR professional, more than AI, there should be a good human touch, right? And we can use a number of AIs, but human heart is very important for HR. That's what I always feel. And whatever AI we use, for the entire AI, there should be a database. And the database today is being completely built by HR. So there are certain things which HR has already done. So based on this, the AI is trying to do this. So I always feel human can do better than AIs. And only with humans it is AI, and not with AIs it is human. So human touch is very important, especially with the background of HR. So I always believe AI is important, I'm not denying it, but HR, human touch is more important for employees with employee experience.
Again, well put. And I'm just so glad that all three of you touched upon the human aspect of it, not just going on the speed and agility, but the human element becomes so important, the cultural fabric becomes important. So this quote, when I looked up, part of their exercise I was doing while using AI to look at attrition, I kept us this online, of course, through this. Automate the routine task, humanize the complex task. And I think that's the key part. AI is here as an enabler to drive productivity, to drive collaboration, to drive speed and agility. But that can be done for routine tasks today from an HR function. But the humanization part is something AI cannot do, which is where HR professionals come. So I really like that in that context. And I think all three of you in that way have touched upon it, that humanize the complex tasks. And that can only be done with HR professionals as such. Shashi, I'm going to come back to you because your industry and your organization does work with global players, as well as the fact that you do have a lot of large competitors out there. You're dealing with multicultural environments and scenarios. So just walk us through a case or an example where a data-driven HR decision had its direct impact on your employee morale, confidence, productivity, etc.
Sure. I'll give you two examples. One, a small one and a longer one. One spin bowling, one fast bowling option. If you talk about data, right? If I have to ask this audience, what is one thing that they find the most sensitive, the most stressful in the entire gamut of HR portfolio, 9 out of 10 would say, hey, it is my performance management system, right? No two sides about it, because at the end of the day, we are practitioners of it and we are also beneficiaries of it, because we also are an employee and we kind of look forward to what, hey, am I beating inflation this time with my increment, right? So if you look at the performance management system per se, to me, we wanted to understand the pulse of the employees, right? I can't keep going back to people time and again saying, what are you feeling about this, what are you feeling about that? Then there is something called survey fatigue that fits in. How do I stay connected? How do I get to know what people are saying, right? One, I have the one-on-ones that happens. My employees to HR ratio is very good. That gives me. But if I have to put that into data and then have measurable insights out of it, then I need a platform which is able to do that. Thankfully, with Zoho, right? I've integrated Zoho in every single aspect of my employees' touch point with the HR function, right? Every single, be it from even booking a counseling slot to say, of course, booking a cab to a counseling slot, whatever it is, everything. And the beauty with maybe I'm talking like I'm advertising for Zoho, but don't get me wrong. The beauty of the product is that it helps me to customize a lot, right? So it helps me to tweak it and create newer modules which serve newer use cases in the organization, right? So that gives me an opportunity of, okay, I can enable my requirements with whatever lever I turn because I have a robust HRMS system, number one. Coming back to the performance management system, we stopped our annual appraisal systems, the synchronized annual appraisal systems about 5 years back. We have completely embraced work anniversary based appraisal systems. We are not caught in the bell curve, we are not caught in the system where, your appraisal period is from April to March, you will be appraised in March, the letter will be given in June, your increment will come in July, your variable pay will come in September, done away. The other problem is somebody joins in September, hey, will I be part of this cycle or will it be given pro rata, should I wait for 18 months? All sorts of permutations and combinations, and keep it simple. I said, you join on the 10th of June, you get appraised by the 9th of June, and on the 10th of June, you get what you are eligible for. That helps me. I got to know the critical insight because I have listening systems through a tech-enabled environment. I am able to deliver it because I have a robust system where I can conduct my process and also generate letters and move it through that. So to me, that works like a charm. Right? So that's one use case I would say. And other than that, the shorter example I want to tell you is that every single activity, to me, my employee must not spend more than 120 seconds in getting what they want from HR. With that single line philosophy, I have been able to leverage my entire tech ecosystem to serve my employees well enough, and that's reflecting in all our Great Place to Work surveys, our Gallup surveys and whatnot, and we are right there at the top, happy. And I say this with a lot of pride because in an IT organization which caters in deep technology, my attrition annualized is less than 7%.
Excellent.
That works. So something is working. Yeah.
No, that's fantastic actually, because and I'm assuming all this is with no overloading of your HR staff, right? Because that's how you're getting employees to self-serve and get a response time so quickly turned around. My next question actually both to Pawan and to Amit, because in your line of business, the company deals with a lot of gig workers. How do you balance that with your employees in terms of AI, digital transformation, and now the gig worker advent? How do you make sure that there is a comfort level and uniformity, so to say, and they don't feel threatened by the advent of gig workers or the digital transformation? So what are the steps that both of you are taking in your respective organizations?
If I have to be very simple answer for it, AI, as we said, we are using AI, and AI is a future for them, but it shouldn't be fearful for them. That's what I always believe. So we should help encouraging them and getting the AI to work so that they can learn something from out of it. But that shouldn't fear them saying that they might lose job over this. That is how it is very important. As I always say, human touch is more important. The experience from human, whatever we get, is more important when it compared to the AI, whatever it is. I always feel that it should be helpful to employees or helpful to people who use it, and it shouldn't be fearful. That's what I always believe.
I think everyone brings in certain amount of capability. You are paid for capability. Today, are we fighting against AI? Look, we have been fighting for our job against humans before. We will be fighting against AI and something else will come in. Till the point we bring in value, we have capability. And in fact, I believe that AI can help you build stronger capability. So, there is no point of you getting scared of AI. In fact, you can collaborate and you can help. And I think with the digital transformation, the story that I've spoken about, when people become capable, a sales guy who can use a no-code platform to solve so many things, I think I'm making him capable. So rather than becoming fearful, he's becoming more confident. If not today, somebody else will employ him. So this is how I look at it. You bring capability to table. You can improve that capability using AI. You don't have to be feared about anything. And if you're doing the same job, if somebody can do it 10 times better than you, that job will go.
Okay. Thanks, Amit. I do have a few more questions, but I thought maybe this is the right time to take a little pause if the audience has questions. I'd love to get your participation, and I already see quite a few hands. I'll have to trim down my questions, but I definitely want to give you an opportunity to interact with our panelists. You can have the mics back there, please. The lady at the back.
Hello.
Yeah. If you can raise your hand and just introduce yourself.
Yeah, myself Suresh.
Okay.
My question to Mr. Shashi. Sir, how do you handle employee privacy and data security when it comes to AI?
We have an AI policy, sir. We have an AI policy in place. Responsible usage of data. We sign up for it as a company. That's a commitment to our employees. Our employees sign up something. So, if I have to answer it in a very, very simple manner, there is enough paperwork to give confidence to each other that, yes, we comply with the law of the land, we comply with the best of practices that assure confidentiality and privacy.
Hi everyone, this is Purnima. I lead the HR engagement for Smart Shift Technologies. Thank you everyone. It's great to listen to each one's perspectives. So this question is for, again, Shashikant. So you mentioned about work anniversary based appraisals, right? So the general industry practices you have, like end of the year, normally it's done, isn't it? And most of the time it's based on, the practice again is based on company's performance, employee performance, inflation, market, right? So now you said that you have had people, as and when. So it's like throughout the year it's happening for you. So what are the challenges you faced, and have you been really successful in this work anniversary based appraisals?
Thank you for the question. For a moment you sounded like my CEO. I found it terribly at odds to make my CEO convinced that look, we need to move from the traditional lens to this. So this is how it was. I'll take you through the journey. Truth be told, okay? All of us, we are all HR practitioners here, so let's take the diplomatic hat out and let's get real in this. What is the biggest regret here? People say, I did best. I did to the best of my abilities. I'm still unfairly put in a bell curve. You want me to be better than the best to get what I deserve. Right? Demotivator number one. Number two. When it comes to offer letters or increment letters, we are better than mutual fund managers. We put a small star and say terms and conditions apply. Payment is subject to market risk. Please read the offer document carefully before accepting. Right? This is not in line with what we want to set out as a company. Why are people staying with me? Because we walk the talk. The fundamental thing is we listen to our employees and we listen with intent. When we listen to people, we want to follow it up with actions to say we listened with intent and we have done what is good. It cannot be the employee's way at all times. The employee gains confidence that, you know what, this company listens to me. Right? So what did we do? We wanted to place our focus on trust. Doesn't matter whether the market condition is bad, doesn't matter whether our cash flow is good or bad, doesn't matter whether we are profitable or not. For once I had a finance head who did not say no to everything that HR said. And that made my job easy. Right? And those who are clapping must have had experiences of similar CFOs. I understand, right? So what happens is when we took this proposition, we said, yeah, what are you going to lose? The cost of replacement, the cost of attrition, the cost of retraining, put all this together, you will be better off embracing vulnerability as HR. What is our biggest problem? We hold on tight to systems and say, this is my magic potion for the company. Why? I did it in my previous company, I want to do it here, it worked there, it will work here as well. Right? That fallacy we broke. I said we are open to embrace, let's get real, I will listen to what you are saying as an employee. The average age of employees in the organization is 26. All deep tech fellows. You find some IIT, PhD guy who is sitting and coding for one client, sitting in the US, all sorts of deep tech guys. I had to respect them, I had to retain them, for which I had to listen to them. And when people say, you know what, this is meaningless, why are you giving me an annual variable pay, which is, the moment you say variable, tell me, you and I as job seekers would have had jitters while accepting job offers in our career. If I as an individual, as an employee, am not okay with something, as a HR leader, why would I want to thrust it on my employees? Somewhere my moral compass is going for a toss. So we did the mathematics, we said we are not losing much, but we get to gain a lot. And today, about 6 years of implementing this, with attrition to be precise at 6.42%, we are an extremely happy lot. Because people feel that, hey, this company did what what we asked for. So, a bit of data, a bit of convincing, and a bit of storytelling did the trick. And of course, when the CEO, when the CFO and the CHRO align together, magic happens because the CEO has no option but to listen. Right? And I tell you one more input. All of you would have medical insurance in your compensation, right? Part of your CTC? Yes? Not part of your CTC. Not part of your CTC at all. Where is it then? Compensate. At the end of the day, the company is still showing it as account, saying this is a total expense that I am paying for the employee. To us, we have certain coverages which is not shown in the appointment letter as I am attributing this expense to you. This is my goodwill to you. You are coming here to do good for me, I will do good to you. So it's a mutual. So at every point, my focus as the HR leader in my company is to accentuate to amplify the trust factor. As I keep increasing trust, sales has numbers, finance has matrices, HR, my success metric is, do my employees trust me? As long as the trust factor works, the human element is there. As long as the human element is there, any amount of tech enablement is okay. And as long as the tech enabled human element works as part of your overall talent strategy, life is good. I hope I've answered.
I've just got an indication time's up. I know this is becoming very, very interactive. Maybe Raja is there. I'm going to eat into the next panel, which instantly I'm moderating. So before Raja throws me out to the moderation, can we just extend by 5 minutes? If, I can't see Raja. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Great. Thanks. So I know you all will have some more questions. I did see a few hands back there, but we do have to accommodate and be cognizant of time for everyone. I wanted to. You have to have an advantage being a moderator. So I have to definitely ask you this question before I let you go, because everything that you've touched upon does talk about AI and digital transformation, which is here to stay even in an HR function. If you were to crystal ball let's look forward from a crystal ball gazing perspective. What will a true frictionless, invisible HR experience look like maybe 1, 3, and 5 years from now? Maybe you don't need to go down 5 years. Things are moving so fast. You can just give the near-term horizon of. So again, don't get me wrong. It's not about getting into all our jobs and replacing an HR function. It's the experience from an individual's perspective in organization. What would really drive frictionless and invisible HR experience in all three organizations?
I think in some sense we started on that journey. I think we coming, presenting that what we are trying to do with basic of automation. Now intelligence getting into the thing, I think it is becoming frictionless. What I foresee that in future, your org structures will have digital agents, agentic AI reporting into you. To an extent, I believe they'll become your mentor, they'll become your peer, and they'll become your subordinate. So, is the collaboration of physical workforce and digital workforce would define that how frictionless you work and deliver. Because there are core jobs, complex jobs that has to be done by humans, but there is a lot of data, metadata that has to be analyzed, insights has to be provided, which can be done by agents very effectively. So this is how I see that going forward, your org structure will have combination of physical and digital workforce, and that time is not very far off. In fact, we have 1 or 2 digital workforce agents working and complementing our team. So this is how I see things would be.
I would look at hyper-personalization at scale, right? For the longest time, we have all been stuck with policies. Somebody comes and says, I need help. As per the policy, I would love to help you, but however the policy states otherwise, enough of this yarn. I think we need to move away from that. We speak to customer care centers, right? We talk to bots for agreements, thank you for your patience, can I place your call on hold? We are tired of this, right? People do not want canned responses, they want real empathetic response. Hey, put yourself in my shoes. HR must move from being a service provider to being a solution architect. Productize HR offerings. Productize HR offerings and say, I am a solution architect, willing to do hyper-personalization of my delivery at scale across organizations such that every employee feels valued. It's not like, you're put in a box and say 100 people get the same output, right? I would like to measure HR's efficiency in terms of how much we humanize our outcome. That should be one of the metrics. Enough of time to fill, tick in the box ratios of whatever, right? I'll give you a simple example as well, right? When we're running short of time. Many of you would have handled L&D as part of your portfolio, right? The biggest sham in the HR industry is gathering participant feedback after an L&D program. I'll tell you how I did a hack. Whenever I completed a program, I will give a feedback form and I'll ask them to fill in an app and say, was the program good or excellent? What will you say? You will say excellent. That's how I scored a 4.95 on a scale of 5 as a learning and development practitioner. Right? That doesn't work anymore, right? I think hyper-personalization, be a solution architect, productize HR, humanize the outcomes and metricize them is what I would state as a parting summary statement for your question. Thank you.
Okay. For me, what is frictionless HR is getting the data instantly from employees. So today in the employees world, especially even as she said, even the workforce, what we have, majority of the employees are less than 30 years. Majority of the average employees are working very young, right? The expectation from them is they will have to preserve. If I just say as a good HR that if you have any concerns, please as a ticket, we'll solve it. That is not the expectation from HR, right? The expectation is we ask a question and we want an answer instantly. This is what it is. And this is what AI tool is doing today, if I'm not wrong, right? For me, AI is artificial intelligence, that is what people see. For me, AI is automation. So if automation is in place, obviously the artificial intelligence will come into picture. And we should be responsible for, as she again said, we should always think on shoes of employees, not as an HR, right? Evolving HR is something, humanizing it, right? We are first humans and then HR, and we should respect it. And giving employees, and we should respect employees because it's an employee experience again, right? Culture is very important, and employees might find out their answers any point of time. but the reason why they come to HR, there's a reason for it, right? And that is what the respectfulness, what we always like from employees, and we always believe it. And there, AI will again help, but humanizing it is very, very important.
Wonderful, wonderful. Once again, Pawan, Shashi, Amit, thank you, for, I would say, extremely candid and extremely practical examples and discussions. And I hope you enjoyed it as well. Sorry, we could take all the questions, but I'm sure you'll find enough time with them outside. Except Amit, who's I think leaving, right? In a bit.
Sunil, if I may take a footnote, I really want to, it's good to see a full house. I really want to call out Abhinaya Rajashekaran and Princy Belinda from the Zoho team for putting this together. Really wonderful work done, guys. Thank you so much for making it easy for us. They did scare me that, hey, you know what, are you taking Air India from Chennai to Bangalore today? I said, yes. We'll start with Tata's and I will certainly come, but thank you very much. And Satish Rajaratnam is the next panelist. And he and I are scheduled to take the same flight. Macha, I'm very sorry I took more time than what I promised, but hope to finish here and let's see you at the airport. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, panelists. I request Mr. Sunil to present the mementos to...
Okay.
Sorry about that. We request Mr. Sunil to present the mementos to Mr. Pawan and Mr. Shashi, please. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. Truly the way to modern HR is mixing smart HR tools with people-centric operations. Thank you for that. So yes, the next panelist is ready for his next slide. So we're going to keep it very short. So for the next session, again moderated by Mr. Sunil, I would like to request Mr. Shashikant Jairam, sorry about that. I would like to request Mr. Satish Rajaratnam, Head of People and Culture Meridius, to join us as the panelist on stage. Please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Satish Rajaratnam, Head of People and Culture Meridius. And secondly, on panel, I would like to request Mr. Raja Ramasamy, the Director of Product Management for Zoho's HR suite of apps, on stage, please. Please put your hands together for Raja. Thank you, and over to the panel.
Thank you for that, and warm welcome to both of you. So this is going to take a little bit of a different flow from the previous one, because that was more hearing from customers and hearing. This is going to go a little more into maybe a few more audience-related questions. And we've actually all this, the questions I'm going to pose is actually come from many of our customers who've been asking us this. It's not about Zoho framing these questions, it's about customers asking the whole AI approach and the landscape. So maybe Satish, I'll start with you. AI adoption generally has its risks, opportunities in every which way you look at it. So hallucinations, LLMs, the big questions around that. We start at small and medium language models, we start with LLM. Of course, there's no one size fits all. It depends on the industry you're in, the kind of nature of work you're in, the functionality that you're looking at in the organization. So from your perspective, can an AI first approach in an HR related use case be culture led, or would it have to be compliance led first?
Cash.
Yeah.
No more check. Okay. That's a great question, and I know there are philosophies that are cliches which says culture eats strategy for breakfast and so on and so forth, but I think that's not the past, right? Culture now eats anything on AI and tech transformation, right? Including strategy. Precisely to your question, culture is more like the vision. Yeah? And AI should be the vehicle to lead to that vision, right? So it's got to be symbiotic, more than just looking at AI as a efficiency driver that all the panelists have spoken in the past as well. So to me, culture will lead as always, right? Whatever tech transformation, whether it's AI, whether you call them as hybrid, whether you call them as symbiotic, whether you call them as emerging tech, put some name to it. I guess culture is going to be there up front. Yeah. Now, when I talk about it, I'll just take a moment to also talk about the evolution of AI itself, the way that I've kind of seen and grown, the books that I've written about on AI. You know, to start with the era that we are in right now, yeah, what we've seen a little bit, if you go back and rewind a little bit, you get to see in the name of AI, we started saying, hey, we will read and interpret data. Yeah, the bots came in, and then the policies were pointed out to it, and all of those conversation bots came in and things like that. The evolution from there, it became, how do I predict something with that data? And the first part is about reading and interpreting. The second one is about predicting. With that data, what am I doing? Then came in attrition prediction, there was an algorithm and things like that. That's when the deep learning, machine learning, all those came in, the wave came, right? Then came in the Gen AI, which this generation would know about, not in the gray hair generation, but this generation would know much. You know, that's when you started talking about how do I create and curate. So it's not just about reading, it's not just about predicting, but can I create and curate a data model using all these parameters, attributes, synthesizers, and so on. But in today's, or the future, is all going to be what we call as agentic AI. Think about it, you're applying for a mortgage. Yeah. Yesteryear, you would have a banker sitting and going through all your documentation, your pay slips, your previous loans, and all of the stuff, and then come back and say how much that the bank can lend to you, and so on and so forth. Then it moved on from there. Yeah? In today's world, most of them do, the AI does the process check and your validation, your eligibility criteria, and so on, and the decision is taken by the humans. But what if your entire underwriting, entire processing happens through an autonomous agentic AI? Your banker is only going to say, here's your document. I think that's the era that we're moving in. Yeah? Having said all of these transformations, culture is something that doesn't change. The previous panelists, right from the first session in the morning, we've heard that, look, it's always about people being at the center. All of these are enablers. And that's why I want to put in a name as it's got to be a symbiotic intelligence. That would mean AI can drive it, but decided by HR. I would say people, right? So we would have to take that ownership in terms of what decision has been taken. You still have to veto that and move on. Because AI cannot apply as much emotion as it is as of today. Be very cautious about it. Yeah, it cannot put in a lot of empathy, sympathy to it as of today. But yes, people can have that input. And that's the answer, right? It's always culture first. AI can be a vehicle, it can lead us to that journey. That's culture as a base. Yeah.
Thanks, Satish. I think very well put. My next question is actually something that we hear all the time in context of, so AI, as you all know, is driving speed, agility, productivity gains, etc. And on the other side of it, one tends to hear HR as a cost center. Do you ever see a scenario emerging where, fundamentally HR as a function can get transformed using AI to a profit center-based entity in an organization or function? Maybe Raja, you first, but it's for both of you. Raja, you can go first.
See, currently the HR team, right? So HR is being seen as a cost center. So AI actually make them a profit center. See, the HR team is an HR guerrilla. Thank us job every department in any organization. HR has to evolve, learning new things. Actually, having to many events recently. See, one of the events in Dubai. So there are two different HR asking me the same question. One person is CEO plus HR. He's asking me, why don't I hire a HR person? Whether AI can help me. The other person is asking me, how do I make sure that my job is safe? Because of AI, I'm afraid of whether AI will take my job. So I'm supposed to answer both of them, right? The same event, right? I told them, see, make AI your assistant, not a same master, right? See, you're supposed to continuously learn new things in your life, right? Every day you are learning new things. Knowingly, unknowingly, right? We know everything today. We are up to the gap. In case we don't learn also, we'll be driven by the technology, peer pressure, everything will be at that place. So I told them, see, if in case Zoho people will help you, in the AI front. At the same time, HR first, human first. See, many people spoke about already the human touch, everything, right? See, forget about the technology. Technology will keep evolving. We cannot stop it. I told them, your job is not lost. Your job profile is lost. Change your job profile. Don't worry about your job. My job profile keeps changing every 5 years. I am with Zoho for last 25 years. I'm not working in the same module, same product. I started the SNMP API, which never existed today. I'm with Zoho people. Right? Zoho evolved last 25 years. I travel along with Zoho. I recommend all the HR people here to travel along with the wave. See, it's not that you must learn AI. Today, we have AI in smartphone. You have open your WhatsApp, AI is already there. It's not something is going to come to replace you. Right? So, you have to understand this. You have to know the technology first. Technology will evolve ever. It's not going to stop anytime soon. If that is the case, how to make use of the technology and change cost center into profit center. That's what I would say.
Thanks, sir. Your thoughts?
Slightly aligned, slightly not. I guess the notion of HR not on the table, HR as a cost center, has evolved significantly, at least over the period. It's a debate that we could have whether it's a cost center or a profit center, but eventually the center should be there where business is profitable. Yeah. So the way that I look at our function as talent is not. I know that there will be few IT or most IT out here, right? I'm sure you have heard about full stack engineering, full stack developer. What if we got to say are you a full stack talent consultant, right? I think that's where our progression should be. When I say that cautiously, it's not just about knowing the entire functional depth of HR. It's not about knowing recruitment, learning, performance, engagement, experience, and so on and so forth. But it's also about knowing what it takes to impact business. That would mean you have to be right at the crossroad of where the macroeconomics is within the area of expertise that your firm is. You need to know where is the macroeconomics, you need to know your revenue, your profitability, you need to know what are your revenue levers, margin levers. How do you, as a people function enabler, contribute towards that levers for the organization, right? And that's why I keep telling this to whoever that I talk to, move out of being transaction to transformational. Again, another cliche, but then the use case story there is, how often we talk about, I've hired 200 people. I've trained, to Sashi's example, I've trained 200 people, feedback is 4.8, right? Does this make any significant value to your business? Yeah. Instead, my quality of recruitment, my quality of hiring, today the engineer is billable as of tomorrow. Yeah. I train so many people and they've gotten $1 additional billing starting tomorrow. Yeah. I've worked on a career architecture program where I've moved significant number of people and this is their performance threshold. Anything that is outcome driven and not just output. Output is where you qualify in terms of numbers, but anything you create outcome, and that's when your cost center to profitability that moves on. So I'd rather work on what business needs. Let's say, for example, utilization in IT, that's a key parameter, right? Most often utilization is put in as a threshold for the board program managers, right? Because they have to run customer satisfaction, they have to run the project, they have to run the people. Utilization is also put onto them. Ideally, to me, utilization or matrices like revenue per employee or revenue per FTE should always be with HR because they're all people and talent related matrices, right? And when you start working on these specific parameters, you bet nobody is going to come back and ask about are you a cost center, are you an enabling function, support group, all these are cliche words that are used. They will always look at us as business enablers. I think that's where the transition should happen, and I think that's where we are.
Very interesting way to look at it, Satish. Thanks for that. So in fact, talking of matrices, It's a nice segue to my next question, which is based on an illustration. Few days ago, I was in Delhi and I met a customer, not of HR, not of Zoho people, but of another Zoho product. But interestingly, they ran an experiment using AI. When I say they, the CIO and the CHRO teamed up, and it's a large FMCG company, so few thousands of employees. And they decided to run an experiment where can AI generate KRAs per employee. So they picked one functional group, and they said for that functional group, let's have AI define the KRAs for that particular group, but by individual, unlike what was done at the group level earlier. Results are a little mixed, but that actually brings me to my next question, which is related to this. So AI allows for this hyper-personalization down to an employee level. If you look at it, should HR move away from the standardized policies to this kind of individualized framework model, using obviously all the tools available in that organization, but the HR function itself? And if you were to do this, I'm putting it as part 2 of this question, that if the answer is yes, why is it yes, of course? How do you ensure that equity, ethics, empathy, all these finer nuances which are so important for all of us in the room are also protected in the organization? So again, I'll leave it. It's a question for both of you. Maybe Raja, you go first.
So this is about human error versus algorithm bias, right? So human error we can avoid using AI. AI cannot be biased, right? So leave the data to the AI part. Decide what you are going to decide can always be HR. So see, in the long run, right? See, this last 10 years, with the Zoho people, I've seen many HR people working with many HR people very closely, CHROs. So I'm seeing a very good transition happening in the HR industry. They are very smart. They are becoming very, very smart, even without AI. Okay. So my real appreciations to all CHROs here. People are really becoming smart enough to understand the employee requirements of each and every hyper-personalization, right? So they are talking about my set of employees want this kind of features. Another set of employees want other set of features. So this is a transition happening in the industry. People don't want to apply the same policy for everyone. Because, right, if you define a policy for 20,000 employees, same policy, will it work? My team, right, say Zoho, right, we have a manager discussion work from home policy, right? So we have our own policy defined in our team. So I allow hybrid mode. My even productivity goes up. So it's up to the manager to decide the policies. That means team-wise policies are there, even without AI, I'm saying. So it is about AI cannot be a policy maker. You are the CHROs, managers. You guys are the policy makers. AI will be only the co-pilot. It cannot be pilot. So you have to decide among, leave the data part of the AI and then hyper-personalization also to AI. AI will suggest you the best ways. For example, right, the leave policy today across the world, right, 12 days of CL, 12 days of SL, whatever, right? So I won't take much leave. It's not applicable for me, so I take only leave from my employees. AI will suggest best leave policy based on last 10 years data for Raja. Raja won't take much leave. What's the point in offering 12 days of CL, 12 days SL, unless otherwise he goes on leave, right? So AI will suggest what is the best policy for Raja. Because see, nowadays it is not that role-based leave policy, it is employee-based leave policy. Employee-based attendance policy. Because I check in at 8:30 a.m. to office, right? My team checks in at 11 a.m., right? So they have their own policy employee-wise. There's no, because we have common time, so 11 to 4, everybody has to be in office or say hybrid mode, whatever, right? So I would recommend hyper-personalization in terms of all the data, all the module-wise data. Leave policy different. See, if it is for nursing mothers, we have different policy, right? So this AI will help you in giving the right data so that you can decide according to the employee experience.
Thanks, Raja. Satish, your thoughts on the hyper-personalization bit as well?
Well, I guess a lot of us talk about hyper-personalization, but how much gets done is the proof of the pudding. To Raja's point again, we have to amend policies. We cannot have rigid HR policies, the hub and spoke that we used to have, right? But not anymore. I think most of us in this room has also evolved out of it, in my view, unless, if not, until now. the way that I look at it is, you take your career journey, right? Or you take your learning path. Any of these needs a very, very hyper-personalized intervention. Yeah? Like it clearly said, the outcome is something that how many engineers that I can create within a stipulated time, that's the outcome. But how do I get there is using all the technology interventions that we may have, right? I guess that's where we need to personalize to a large extent. And from a policy compliance perspective, there's got to be a rapid change the way that we administer, especially, we still work out of hybrid mode, 2 days a week, right? You work from anywhere, collaborative office. Yeah, so 2 days a week you come to office, you do whatever you want to do, the rest is all up to you and still deliver, right? If such a case, your attendance policy, when you are given an offer letter saying 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. is your work time, 1 hour of break, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, it's null and void already, right? So we can't be so rigid saying if you do not spend 1 hour on lunchtime, but you go beyond, we will, there will be repercussions from HR, all those are gone. Yeah. One. Second, to his point, your teams are now spread in multiple geographies. Yeah. In our world, we call this, they're all Scrum and Agile teams all across, right? But they work together at some point in time and deliver the sprints together. Given that scenario, HR, or rather the people policies, should have some guardrails for sure. Yeah. Within that guardrails, can we give some flexi, turn to the employee himself or herself, right? So, in the sense, take for example compensation. How many of us have thought through? Let's say if you're a campus hire right out of university, your immediate need is about, can I get a allowance on gym? Can I get a allowance on gym or some gaming booths and all other stuff? But if you get married in your late 20s, how do I get insurance coverage for spouse or kid and so on and so forth? I mean, you move between 35 to 40, right? And I'm sure you would have aging parents. How do I cover that? So, do we give this flexi insurance hand-picking, cherry-picking to our employees? Yeah. But for us, it is a group medical insurance, group accidental coverage, and that's there about it. Yeah. How do you break this down? Can we customize those? I think that to me is hyper-personalization. Learning, for example, right? Most of them spoke about learning. When in our system that we have right now, if I'm going to be let's say a performance tester, I'm going to be a HR business partner, for example, and be able to relate to much. When I log into my system, it will pick up HR business partner role. It will look at the role, responsibility, span, influence, your proficiencies on certain areas, business acumen versus policies versus employee experience and so on. And then it will run an adaptive assessment, and then it will gauge you, and it will say these are areas that you're very strong at, these are areas that you need more improvement, here is your learning journey. You complete your learning journey, end of the course it will come back and says these are your credits, and you're eligible to move up to the next level or whatever, right? So look at in olden days, we used to do training needs analysis. You sit with the business, understand what you need this month, next month, 6 months, 1 year. Today, it is hyper-personalized. Whatever role that you play, wherever that you are, system will help generate that. And that again, the system for quote-unquote AI, deep learning, whatever that you want to put them on, machine learning and so on. It will basis your interest, basis your skills, basis your proficiency that you search. It will create an algorithm, it will pull up and say, this is the structure, this is your learning journey, completed within 1 year, and this is linked to your performance threshold end of the year, right? So again, to your point, we have to personalize, right? But there's got to be some guardrails. I can't say I'm an HR business partner, but I would want to become a CEO for tomorrow. Right? That will never happen. Yes, but give them the journey. Next 2-3 years, you want to move on from being an HR expert to a financial expert to a tech expert. I'll give you the journey. You pick and choose. If you're able to go there, it's up to you.
Great points, Satish. Thanks for that. Only being fair to the audience here, we would have limited time, so I think we can possibly take 2 questions. We can just have a show of hands if any of you. I do have some more, but I want to be fair to you all as well. Can we have a mic here, please? Lady? Second group. If you can identify yourself as well, the company.
Sure. Hi, my name is Sudipta. I'm from Tata Lexi, looking the HR of the company. So my question is to Mr. Satish. So apart from the objective benefits of implementing AI in HR, like time saving, cost reduction, what are the various qualitative benefits And if since they are qualitative benefits, what should be the matrix to calculate the ROI of those benefits?
I'm going to pick on my own friend Sashi, which is left with the CFO versus CHR relationship. Pick that for example. Now, you've signed up an agreement or an SOW with your customer for X dollars as per hour rate bill, right? What if I'm going to say, look, you've signed up on a 30% gross margin, but I'm going to give it to you at 35% gross margin to your delivery manager or business manager. That makes sense, right? I think that's where AI is going to help us get there. Yeah? How? Well, if I'm going to take, in a normative time, if I'm going to take about 1 month to onboard someone into your organization, using AI, can I minimize that and make it 20 days? Can I give that 10 days back billing onto the delivery, onto the business guy and say, look, I've saved 10 days for you, you can start billing this 10 days additional. Yeah? That would mean the top line is going to grow and your margins are also going to grow appropriately. How are you going to do it? Well, using AI in HR, in recruitment is, you do a autonomous screening. You have bots today calling your candidates, looking at the screening profile and JD and come back and say, look, 60% match, 70% match, 80% match. Can you prioritize your calling specific talent to get on board? So that way your speed and efficiency is built through the engine to get faster onboarding into the customer. One. Second, the other example that I gave, gone are the days where you get feedback as a parameter for learning programs. It's all about scaling to billing. Yeah? How soon can you skill and build someone? How soon you can cross-skill, upskill, reskill someone and put them back into billing? Again, that is a very, very critical role out there. It will determine where is your point A, where is your point B, and how can you get to point B, how soon you can get there as well. Look, leave the administration, it could be a VLT, it could be an in-person session, it could be a AI-led session, whatever it is, but the determination of gap between point A and point B across HR functions, I think AI can do much faster than where it is today. Else, you'll have to go to every function, ask them what do you want and how do you want, how soon you want it. Yeah? So, efficiency is built, which would impact your business metrics significantly in my view. Take for example, Net Promoter Score, ENPS score, right? How do you gauge? I think morning session we heard about sentiment analysis and all of that stuff, right? But today, we've worked on systems where you walk into a bank, the bank captures your imagery, facial system, and by the time you hit your bank teller, he or she will say, why are you here for, what are you here for, this is what you can get. That's the speed at which the delivery is happening today. If that's going to happen, you bet, all of these are going to change significantly as well. And I think that's where you get business benefits transformed through AI or any other tech interventions, if you will.
Yeah. Just one last question. I know we're totally short on time, but if you can make it really brief, if you don't mind. I had promised to.
Hi, I'm Sandeep Gupta. I head the people management group for Tower Technologies. My question is related to one of the, suggestions or recommendations, which was on personalization of the policies, hyper-personalization of the policies. So we have certain instances in the IT companies where people they question the decisions of HR team or manager related to their growth, promotions or opportunities. So how do you ensure that the equity is also being there in the system and there's no personal bias of the manager when you try to personalize the policies?
Thank you. Fantastic question. Right? That's why I said I was very critical and infused the word guardrails. Yes, we can empower our managers to take decisions. We can give them the flex, but then the guardrails are very, very critical. Right? Eventually, if you look at it, all of these promotions, retention conversations, or any changes that we make to people-centric processes, policies, all of these will bubble up into net end goal of a CFO in terms of margins and revenue, typically margins, right? So how do we kind of keep a guardrail? So can we budget in such a way that saying, every team, this is your kitty, you play around within the kitty. I'm okay if you want to give X percentage so much for someone, Y percentage so much someone. But again, within that, be very, very clear saying, if someone's tenured between 0 to 5 years, your guardrail should be this, don't go beyond this. Yeah? Let's say you're talking about a deep tech guy, a full stack engineer, for example, with 10 plus years. Well, if X is the compensation, you can flex it to X plus 10% or 20%. You can give 10% or you can give 15%, but don't go beyond 20%. Okay? So there's got to be some definitive guardrails in my view, right? Else it's going to get, all over places, and everybody would say, hey, you've given Satish 20%, why not me? Yeah, that's why the cost, the buy versus sell rate is very, very critical, and that's why I said full stack talent consultant is very, very critical. If we only run, I have 1 million today to give out as compensation increase, those days are gone. But if you're going to go back to the business and say, I have 1 million, but I would want you to utilize only 76 million because there will be attrition of about 7 to 8%. I need to do cost of hire on that, right? And there will be an inflation COLA that will happen year on year. I need to budget on that. Plus, I will have to invest more to get more innovations. I'll have to invest on that because I need to build new capability for the firm and invest on that, right? Unless we talk these languages and say this 1 million will be bifurcated into A, B, C, and D, the full stack that I talk about, it's going to get overboard. Your CFO is going to come back and say, I gave you 1 million. You're now asking for 2 million more to do innovation and capability building and learning programs and certification and so on and so forth. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. I think that's the crux. As much as we personalize it, I think we should have a guardrail around it saying this is how much max that we could get up to.
Thanks, Satish, and thanks for a great question. Before we conclude, so my 2 cents on this, which also came from one of you as a question, is that there are many women who aspire to break the glass ceiling, and they get only up to a certain point. The true aspect of AI in context of inclusion, in context of diversity, would be felt, the impact would be felt that we really have that glass ceiling aspect broken, and can we really use AI to achieve that. So that's just food for thought. Are we there yet? Are we getting there yet? What do we need to do collectively to get there? Because everyone deserves an opportunity which should be equal. Thank you so much, Satish, and thank you so much, Raja. I think great discussion. Sorry we ran short of time. I know there were a few more questions, but thank you once again. Wonderful discussion.
Data to AI and decisions to HR professionals. Wonderful takeaways. I request Raja to present Mr. Satish with a memento as a sign of appreciation and gratitude. And thank you so much, Sunil, for wonderfully moderating 2 sessions back to back. A round of applause for them, please. Thank you. So that brings us to the end of the morning segment of HRizon. We'll now break open for lunch. We'll have a 15-minute break just outside the hotel. Lunch is being served ready for you. So please enjoy this bread with us, and I'll see you back here in 15 minutes. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope to see you all back in the afternoon again. Thank you, and please enjoy the lunch spread with us. I'd like to serve you a slice of entertainment to welcome you back to the afternoon segment of HRizon. Just when you think or we think that this is all about HR thought leadership, this is a thought leadership masterclass, we have Sanjay to deliver a masterclass on bending reality. Please welcome Sanjay, software engineer turned illusionist who traded code for conjuring and never looked back. After 6 years architecting solutions in the tech world, Sanjay now architects wonder itself, fusing razor-sharp logic with impossible phenomena. His creations have stunned Fortune 500 CEOs, A-list celebrities, and virtual audiences spanning 5 continents, while his behind-the-scenes consulting power the act of some of today's most celebrated magicians. Today, he brings that same innovative spirit to Zoho, rewiring reality in real time before us and proving that the most advanced technology on earth is still the human mind. So let's get ready for an unforgettable collision of storytelling, psychology, and next level sleight of hand. Please welcome illusionist Sanjay. Please put your hands together to welcome Sanjay.
All right, hello everybody. So my name is Sanjay. I am a magician, I'm a mentalist, I'm an illusionist, I'm a hypnotist, you can call me whatever you want. They're basically come in the same category. And what I am going to do today is bend reality. We're going to take chaos and we're going to turn it into order. Okay? Now this is what I want all of you to do right now. Just think go back in time, go back in your memories, and think about the last time you were truly amazed. Okay, now I don't mean impressed, because technology impresses us every once in a while. Okay, when AI came out, it was really impressive. I don't mean that. I mean the last time you were truly astonished and struck with wonder, right? And the more you think about it, the more you sort of start realizing that most of these memories for us are during our childhood. You know, the first time you saw a rainbow, right? The first time you saw an aeroplane fly by, or maybe the first time you had ice cream, your first crush. All of these were moments that were really memorable to us, right? And as we grow into adults, it's really difficult for us to experience that same wonder and same joy. And hopefully today, by the end, you will be experiencing that. Now, I have here 4 envelopes, as you can see, 4 chairs, and this is going to be the end of the show, okay? The end is inevitable, okay? We're gonna have a bunch of you come up here, make a few decisions, and then finally something incredible will be inside of these envelopes, alright? So, before we start, this is going to be random. I'm just going to take this paper ball, throw it out into the audience. Whoever catches it, I just want you to stand right there, and then I'm going to give you further instructions. Okay, so I'm going to turn back and throw this paper ball. I'm not joking. It is going to come towards you, so it might hit you. So just be ready for it. All right. So this is the first toss. All right. Okay. So can somebody pick the paper ball up? All right. So what's your name? Raghu, I want you to take that paper ball and look into one general direction and throw it to somebody else, okay? So make sure you make eye contact first, okay? Alright, we've got it there. Alright, so, okay, so perfect. Keep standing there, alright? And what I want you to do, so, hello? Yeah, I want you to take that paper ball, throw it to one more person. Perfect, okay, can somebody pick that up and stand up? And finally we need one more person, okay? So this time I want you to go walk up to them and hand it to them. Yeah, just choose one person. It can be anybody, someone you know, someone you don't know. Make it as random as possible. Now, I notice most people are trying not to make eye contact. Alright, perfect. So can all 4 of you come up on stage and spontaneously, you'll have a huge round of applause for you. All right. Can I have you guys standing right over here? What's your name? Rahul. Okay, Rahul, stand right over here. And you both can stand right over there. Perfect. Okay, so we have 4 people and 4 chairs, right? Rahul, since you were the first person who caught the paper ball, I'm going to ask you to make a decision right now. Okay, I want you to look at all 4 of these chairs, okay? And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to decide on one of these, okay? And you're going to go and stand behind that chair. Now, you can go for any one of these 3. You can go for chair number 1, or you can go for chair number 2, or you can go for chair number 3, or you can go for chair number 4. So, 1, 2, 3, or 4, which one do you want to go for? Chair number 3, what a nice gentleman. I made a little bit of a and he went for it. Do you think you did that because I did that? No, that felt free, right? Free choice, right? Again, so what's your name, sir? Chetan, Sanjay. So Chetan, again, you have a choice of 1, 2 or 3. You can go for any one of these. Okay. Oh, okay, he wants to choose 2, he does not like. Okay, perfect. See, we've got 2 opposite minds over here. And your name, sir? Amir. Amir, again, you have 2 options left. Before you choose, alright, now you can go for a choice. Which one would you like to go for? Okay. And finally, sir, what is your name? Joseph. See, Joseph, you don't really have a choice. You're left with just one, right? However, I'm going to give you a choice right now. You can right now walk up to another chair and that person would have to swap with you. Okay? So that person will have to go there. So it's totally up to you. Now usually when I do this, people don't want to disturb others. So that's what they generally do. They try and be nice. Now that I said it, you might want not to be nice. So it's totally up to you. You can either go there or you can. Oh, all right, okay. We've got a skeptic here. Okay, so all four of you might notice that you've got a deck of cards there. Can you just hold that in your hands? Yeah, hold it in your left hand. Okay, yeah, just hold it in your left hand, face down. Face down, yeah, perfect. And as you can see, there's a hair tie, right? So just remove that hair tie and put it on your hand. Just put it on your hand. Perfect. Yeah, you can just put it on your hand for a second. Yeah, just wear it like a hand. Yeah, perfect. Alright, this is very important. I want you to hold the deck face down in your hand. Yeah, face down like this. In your left hand, just hold it like this. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to cut a few cards from the top. Okay, you can cut, just go like this. Just go like this. Yeah. Yeah, put it back. Now, lift, let's say, less than half the deck. Okay, so maybe 10, 12 cards. Just pick it up. Okay. Yeah, show everybody where you cut to. Okay, we've got red, blue, yellow, and green. Turn that entire thing over and place it right back on the top. Place it right back on the top. Turn it over, turn it over. Yeah, perfect. So, as you can see, you've got different colors, right? All different colors, all different numbers. This time I want you to cut deeper. Cut a little bit more, okay? More than you did earlier. Yeah, cut. Show everybody what you got. Okay, this time you've got green, you both have somehow synced to red, and he's got blue, right? And turn it over and put it back. Turn it over, flip it over, and put it back. Flip it over, put it back. Alright, so all four of you have done this. And now this is what I want you to do. I want you to just spread through the cards. Spread through the cards, spread through the cards. You'll see a lot of face-up cards, right? Put all the face-up cards down. Okay, so just spread through, take all the face-up cards and put them on the chairs. Put all the face-up cards on the chair. Yeah. And you can see while going through, you probably saw that all cards are different, right? And take the next first face-down card, the first face-down card, and hold it like this. The first face-down card, yeah. The first face-down card, and hold it like this. Yeah, perfect. Towards you. Okay, so we've got 4 cards right now, and put it close to your chest. Now we also want you some other action going on. This was already chaotic. Why don't you just point to somebody out in the audience? Just point to someone. One general area. Just point to one general area. Right side. Ma'am, can you stand up for a second? Yeah? You with the glasses? Yeah? I want everybody to pull out your calculators, guys. Just pull out your calculators. We're going to generate a random number. Ma'am, I want you to think of a 3-digit number for me right now. Okay, think of any 3-digit number for me. Alright? Change your mind a couple of times if you feel like it. Alright? So what number do you settle for? You can say it out loud. 319. Can I have somebody, can you just help me, just write the numbers down over there? So 319, right? I want everybody to punch in 319, okay? And you make sure I am not doing anything, funny. 319, right? 319, everybody punch in 319 on your calculators, okay? Same thing, sir, just point to one general direction. Okay, somewhere in the center. Sir, over here, can you just stand up and give me another 3-digit number? 1, 2, 3. Can we write down 1, 2, 3? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Can everybody, take 319, put a plus, and then take 1, 2, 3 and add that. Okay? Now, you sir, I want you to again. The lady sitting in the yellow, can you stand up, ma'am? And I want you to do the same thing, just name a random 3-digit number. 5, 6, 7. Okay? Perfect. And now, with you, Ahmed, we'll do something a little different, okay? I want you to hold your left hand or right hand out like this. Yeah, you can place the rest of the cards down, okay? You guys can also just place the rest of the cards down, okay? And I want you to take your finger like this, yeah, finger. And I want, close your eyes and just punch in, just tap the screen 3 or 4 times, yeah. Just tap the screen a couple of times. Okay, alright, okay, open your eyes. Okay, so what number did you punch in? Yeah, you can say it out loud. 1031. Can everybody add in 1031? Can you also write down 1031? Perfect. Okay, so we've got 319, 123, 567 and 1031. All of these generated randomly by you. And then these guys also have a lot of, they selected one card from a bunch of different cards. Yeah, just keep it close to each other. Yeah, keep it close. Here's what I want you to do. In a moment, I am going to ask you guys to look at your cards and just look at the color of the card. You just look at the color of the card, remember the color, okay? Now, as you guys must have noticed, each one of these people also have a band on their hand, okay? Now the chances that one of them cut to a card which is of the same color is insane already. But it could be luck. Two of them getting it correct would be really good. Three would be really, really good. Now 4 would come to the layer of impossible. Now if, at the count of 3, if you have the same color card as the band, at the count of 3, not now, I want you to raise your hand, okay? Just raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Alright, you have it, you have it, you have it. Also you have it, so that's 4 for 4. Okay? However, maybe that is coincidence, right? Now, we did 319, 123, 567 and 1031. What is the result of the total that we got? 2040. Can you just write that down there? The answer we got is 2040. Now think about this. These guys randomly cut to a card. You guys randomly generated a number. This was chaos, right? Now we get to order. One at a time, I want you to flip the card around and show that is a 2, that is a 0, that is a 4, and that is a 0. 2040, ladies and gentlemen. Think about that. Now I know you might be thinking, okay, wait a second, this is not possible. I know what Sanjay did. Sanjay probably saw what cards he was taking because you probably saw I was looking. And then he made you say these numbers and get to 2040. Well, that is one possible explanation. But remember I told you that everything was inevitable, right? You see, these 4 envelopes have been here the entire time, right? Can you hold on to this? Yeah. Yeah, just hold on to this with one. Okay, don't take it out right now. Same thing, can you just hold on to what we have here? Yeah, just hold on to it. And just take this and hold on to this. Perfect. Now, you guys had the choice to go for any chair, right? In fact, you made them switch at the end, right? So I'm really, really glad you did that. You know why? Take out everything. That is 2, 0, 4 and 0, ladies and gentlemen. And not just that, if you look close, you got a red 2, you got a green 0, you got a blue 4, you got a yellow. That is, sort of the exact order in which the Zoho logo is, right? But remember I said everything was inevitable? That's because the reason you guys are here today is because Zoho organized HRizon, right? And I think 2040, which also means 2040, right? I think 2040 will be a very special year for you guys, for everybody here. Do you know why? Because you see, 2040 is actually Z-O-H-O, Zoho, ladies and gentlemen. We got Zoho, ordered out of chaos. Thank you so much. That was my time. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Phew, that sure was a sway from reality. And if only we can read the minds of employees, right? Says the HR leader sitting right over there. So yes, thank you so much. Another round of applause for Mr. Sanjay, please. Great job, great. Okay, shifting back to reality. we have the next panel discussion. So let's shift gears into a fireside chat that invites us to, reflect on what truly matters today. So yes, we will be having a panel discussion on how you can craft total rewards that resonates with today's talent, what today's talent actually need, how to craft a wholesome reward strategy for them. We'll be answering all these real-time questions, real-time in this session. So please put your hands together to welcome the moderator for this panel, Charles Godwin, the HR leader and also a HR person from Zoho Schools of Learning and a public speaker as well. So please put your hands together for Charles Kiko. And next up we have Ms. Uma Rao Ganduri, CHRO of Statement Pharma Ventures. So I request Ms. Uma Rao Ganduri to come up on stage, please. Please put your hands together to welcome Ms. Uma. Thank you. And next up we have Mr. Debashish Panigrahi, the CHRO of HRizon Properties. Please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Debashish for us. To be the third panelist, we have Dr. Varadaraju Janardhanan, the Vice President of Human Resources of Flipkart. Please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Varadaraju Janardhanan for us. And panelist number 4 is Mr. Varadarajan Sakyamurthy, the Senior Vice President of Human Resources of Micro Labs Limited. Please take stage, sir. Please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Varadarajan Sakyamurthy. Now, Charles.
Very good afternoon. Good afternoon, Bengaluru. Thank you so much. From morning we have been talking about tech, AI and so on. As an employee, what is there in store for me? And that's the theme for this afternoon, total rewards. I think I still remember almost a decade back, freshers who joined the company have been asking for, beyond my salary, beyond my take home, what do I get? Right? Rewards is a common term which is used. And today, for the next 30 minutes, we will be talking about total rewards for today's talent. At the same time, I'm very happy today because we have a very diversified panel today from different industries, different walks of life. And we'd like to hear from you. The first thought when it comes to total rewards, immediately HR leaders' mind will pop up to, will my finance budget? Yes? Yes. Will my CFO agree to it? Will I be able to meet my CFO to have an open conversation? So my first question to Debashish. HR and finance, CHRO and finance, your top thoughts, please.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. See, when I talk about HR and finance and sales and marketing, the one thing which comes to my mind, what is an organization all about? Because when we're talking about an organizations, basically, when we see from a larger context, an organization is an engine or rather a machine which I can say which create value. It has one objective, the very important objective is to create value. Values may be financial values, intellectual values, social values, psychological values. That's what we say in terms of finance, in terms of learning, in terms of working as a cohesive systems as part of our social values, and how we try to put forward, and how it gives an equitable distributions of wealth. So it is all about creations of wealth and equitable distributions of wealth. based upon the level of equity somebody is bringing, the engine or the machine or the systems brings the value back to the ecosystems. In that, we are talking about two systems. One is a financial systems and one is a people systems. The financial systems and people systems are coherently working to create the larger value. Because when we talk about a customer value creation journey, it is through a people things. Basically, unless until it is inward out, there is no value creation, because stakeholder value creation is what I am trying to look at. So in this whole journey, if I give an example, the story between a CFO and a CHRO, basically when you look at, the value creation journey also looked upon from the point of the price equity ratio, because when we talk about a listed company and how a listed company is performing at a larger level in a particular market, one of the indicators is P indicator. So when you look at from a P indicator perspective, all the research says if the price part can be influenced with the ability of leadership quality and the human quality by 25% to the stakeholder back. Now the question between a HR and a CFO is how do you create that notions which will make you go for that 25% journey. Maybe at a higher level when you are trying to look at through your ecosystems, whether it is a technology, processes, people. When I talk about the total reward, it's about the same thing, financial reward or your psychological reward or intellectual reward, how we are trying to create those learning systems. What combinations? Because the basic is we are in the machine or the systems of need and aspirations. The need and aspirations for a young crowd will be very different than the need and aspirations of a kind of aging crowd and when we're trying to look at. So your systems discussions basically, when I'm trying to make it little larger basically, because it can be in terms of how it gives back, in terms of my tech structure, how it can give back to my percentage share in my learning growth, how it can give back in terms of my benefit payout basket. Can I create a systems where I have a choice through a technology platform or whatever things it may be, so that I have a choice, like point to choose among them. So I think when the journey of value creations between a HR head and the finance head is in that line, it can talk about a sustainable model. Because as of now we are talking about cost versus benefit or a cost center versus whatever things we are talking about from that lens. I think the discussion points need to be how can you perceive a sustainable journey over a period of time within the framework of value creations, and what support is required from the resource development perspective. Because the point from a CFO thinks is more about resource optimizations and development. I think it will be longer if anybody want to get to that.
Absolutely, yes. I know it's about the eyes of a CEO and the eyes of CHRO. Having said, we have been talking about the visible, awards, total rewards, which we have for our employees across the country, across the world. Today we do see invisible awards, invisible total rewards. Umarji, can you please share? Because we are actually blind most of the times. Employees are not aware about what is there in store, which are not visible, which is closely connected with the culture of the organization.
That's a beautiful question, because when we look at the iceberg model anywhere, we are so aware of what we see with our eyes, and many times we don't go beyond that, below the surface to know what's happening. And that's where the meat of everything that's happening in an organization lies. I'm sure all of you have seen that a lot. I had, so when I was working with Ashok, right, I had a situation where we wanted to do a women leadership program. And one of the ladies came, and she was nominated, she was the High Court nominated for it, and she started crying after coming to me saying, I don't want to attend this program. And I said, but all through you were talking about developing yourself and wanting to do better. So what possibly is happening in your mind that you're crying? And she said, you know what, if I do this program, you're going to promote me and you're going to move me out of this place. And I can't afford to do that. I mean, little did I ever realize that nominating somebody for a development program could evoke the kind of response that it did. And so what did that teach me that day? That the basic insecurity stemming from the fact that she was moving out of that place was what was creating that kind of reaction in her. Now, what is the reward for such a person? To keep her here. And that was invisible in that sense, right? And so when you talk about invisible rewards, I think it's about what keeps people ticking, which they're not able to speak out, which we're not able to see. Most of the time we think a promotion or a pay hike or sending somebody for an overseas assignment, etc. is going to motivate them. And then you realize that that may not quite be what it is. And in today's world, Charles and the rest of the panel will probably agree, there are so many different things that motivate people. And it's so hard to tell as to what it is unless you talk to the individual. For someone, it's doing a course that motivates. For someone else, just to be left alone without being micromanaged is something that they look forward to. For someone else, it could be joining the spouse in the location of work that they are, that makes them feel happy. Now, which policy and manual says this to you? How do you ever make it out unless you start interacting with people and doing about it? So I think in the era of hyper-personalization, one of the things to realize is not everything that you're putting on the table may be the one that motivates people. And there is a lot more that's going on in people's minds, which, will come out only when you start interacting, taking feedbacks and things like that. So today's world, from the last couple of years that I have been watching, right, I think people have been looking for flexibility a lot. Now, in a very regimented industry, flexibility is not even a word one utters. But how far are you going to take this regimentation? Because today's talent is looking for something else, right? And therefore, when we sort of tweak around the incoming time and outcoming time in a manufacturing industry, it's a big thing. Because for them, 9 means 9 and 6 means 6, right? You can't have that. And I struggled in one of my jobs with the owner of the company who said, why do you need flexibility at all? And we are in a place, the office was in a place which is, high density traffic. Impossible for you to get in on time and then get out at time. So I think this was so difficult for this individual to understand because they've always been used to having people who leave at 7 in the morning and reach office at 8:30, right? And they will be there till the boss leaves and then leave after that. So manufacturing industry is also undergoing a lot of change because of this. And one of the invisible benefits is when we gave them a 1-hour flexibility, they felt so thrilled about it. Of course, you can't start a shift late, guys, let's accept that. But rest of the functions, we did manage to give a little bit of flexibility in those environments. Now, there are people who want leaves of extraordinary nature, right? We have scrapped in our current place sick leave. We don't have anything called sick leave, right? But we said, whenever you have a need, company is going to stand up for you, don't worry. Because this was playing on their mind. What happens if I don't have an assigned sick leave? So sometimes not everything is articulated. So flexibility, studies, extraordinary leaves, giving time off to do work of your personal interest. Sometimes what we call is moonlighting. People like to do all of this. These are invisible benefits. Health, well-being. I think these are the themes that are coming out more as invisible.
Very interesting perspective, Umaji, because flexibility when it comes to a tech company and an IT organization is reasonably welcomed, or in a sales and marketing role. But when it comes to a non-tech, especially in the factory, talking about flexibility, giving that freedom every single minute is something very, very important and crucial. Thanks for sharing that highlights. We'll come back to you for further questions. Next to Dr. Vardha. Vardha, thanks for making happen today because you just landed landed in Bengaluru, after long travel to different parts of the country. And the question is, today when we plan our org design, we focus on strategy, vision, and so on. How do we, really keep our finance, our OpEx in control?
All right. First and foremost, thanks for organizing this beautiful conference and having me here. I always say that post-lunch sessions are the most difficult one.
not just for you, for us also. All right, real question, so org designs. How many of you have heard the word, I want it now? It's like ringing, right? Yeah, it's something, as of yesterday, as of now, right? Right, coming back to this org design, in this very fast-paced, ever-changing environment, organizations and leaders are extremely tempted speed over strategy or structure. Do you agree? Speed. But one principle that I have learned, which I just kept very close to my chest, is strategy shapes the structure and structure defines people decision. In other words, people follow the structure and structure follow the strategy. This is the code in org design. If you ever try to alter this, I think you will find yourself in trouble. When I say you, the leaders in the organization. Let me just give some example. Like I had gone through an experience, I'm sure all of you, I want to just share one instance which happened in one of my previous organizations. This is a very high profile being referred by one of our CXOs, right? High profile referred CXO, and this person comes with like very high pedigree, good brand, and then as the interviews, how many of you think that interviews like a T20 match, right? Sometimes you can whack or you get out, right? So we made an offer, right? Guess what? In 6 months, entire first line vanished. In less than a year, we had to completely rebuild the entire team, right? So the point that I'm trying to drive home is, are we recruiting for skill that fits into structure and then that enables the strategy, or we are just so carried away by those fancy resumes with high pedigrees and then great brands, right? So, and therefore, what I would really say very, very strongly is org design is non-negotiable, right? And you have to really get that started at the very beginning. And when I say org design, it's not only having the structure but define those skills, which are very important. Skill today, in today's world, it's a currency, right? Are we hiring for skill and will or for just mere pedigree, fancy CVs or their experience? I would err towards like skill as a currency, right? Right. When it is augmented, when your hiring is augmented by skill, capability, and also that aligns with your value and purpose, right? All three are very important. When this augments very well, then what really the output, the product that really comes out is when purpose meets capability, you build an organization that really scales, not just only scales, but you build a very high growth, high impact organization that lasts forever, right? It's not here and now, but you're going to build high growth, high impact organization that lasts forever, for which this core principle is very important. People follow structure, structure follow the strategy.
Amazing. Thank you, Dr. Vada. Next, almost a follow-up question. When we talk about talent investments, especially if you look at we initiate various initiatives. Today we have been talking about wellness, especially post-COVID. We have been talking about mental wellness and so on. When somebody is unwell, not physically, but in any form, immediately the management or the organization, especially HR leaders, intervene and ensure that our wellness is taken care, right? And when we talk about D&I is one of the trending topic which we have been talking about, for all these years. So how do we look at, these kind of initiatives when it comes to finance ROL? Varadarajan.
Thank you, Charles. So first is, I just wanted to resonate many of the thoughts. Keeping in the mind, always the flashy perks is what is the employee attraction was thought process for many of the CHROs, and it has been there. But when we go deep dive, I think there are many things which is beyond. One is surely the wellness and the culture of the organization. And what I believe is there are 4 levers which matters for the stickiness of employee with the employer. Number 1, which is very, very critical for people to understand, is that how engaging is the job. So if the engagement is good, quite good, rich, the person generally gets to the organization and the employability is well spoken across. And in that, one of the content is also the wellness, and it is not that wellness drives it. That should be the perception, number 1. Number 2, which very, very critical for me as a HR in a pharma company, very clearly says that how is the career path. Today the younger generation or somebody who is there in the organization for 20-40 years, his level of thought that how should I grow in the organizations are different levels. But am I giving some sort of thoughts to them? So I think there the HR plays a very important role to listen first, keep the ears on the ground. Probably we don't do it much. And the third, which comes very important in that parameter, is the wellness part. Many of us, we generally think that the organization, when you go up the cadre, the stress levels also high. Are we really resonating? Are we trying to understand when you go up the ladder? These are the byproduct, the trade-off which is there, which we generally see people want to go up, but the balance of life, the lifestyle, everything goes for a toss. So we really make a point to them upfront. So when you want to go up A, B, C, D, you say these are the things trade-off. Are you prepared? Your skill may be good, your pay may be good, but nobody looks at the other part of it. So we generally look at that. And talking about rewards, we were trying to look at called IRPs, instant recognition plan. So what does it mean? It's not a flashy perks or any incentives. What we said is you give a card as a recognition so that there is a change in behavior of the person from X to Y. So he says that he's good and this. So what we did is we tied up with certain things by saying that okay, you get some sort of reward, but you're also a little differentiated. So you have X, Y, Z of IRPs, and then you are saying that you are cut above the rest, and then you are trying to say that you are also seeing that as one of the topmost employer for us. So like that we have started going with the conventional method of just looking at how productivity, how is it coming, because productivity is key. We all look at the ROIs, but we are also trying to stitch few things, softer element towards it. So what to sum up, to say that each lever, like if you take engaging, career path, rewards, or anything more, everywhere we touch upon the wellness part also as the HR, and we are trying to make the people believe that we are with you. So we hear you, we listen to you, we are the employee voice, and we say we will try to take care. So few things on the insurance part, health insurance, we are trying to look at it, but we have a long way to go because we are a pharma company, so we generally hear them out. How much solution we are taking, that is where we are working on as of now. We are not still reached there. So that's it from me.
Thank you, Varadaraj. A follow-up question to both Marau and Varadaraj, and I'm just thinking over because when we, for example, when we are from a tech company, we really get into the deep dive towards the technology, the future of tech, and so on. So when we talk about wellness, when you spoke about wellness, since both are from pharma, I'm sure you'll be far ahead, when we compare to any other industries. Any one simple, unique, initiative which you do proactively, in the recent times, if any one of you would like to share, please.
Can I?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. So one of the ways we thought is, include wellness in the employee volunteering program that we have, right? So get associated with the community and drive a wellness initiative, right? And so we had a lot of school children, and we took them on a walk around the park, and then had a lot of employees volunteering and being part of it. So it was like purpose that Amanda talked about, and also wellness, and also engagement. And I think somewhere these initiatives actually open employees' minds up to what privilege actually means. and what not being privileged actually means. So I think we drove a lot of things through that initiative. Wellness is certainly one.
So let me give you a live example. Since we are a pharma company, we are having certain therapy areas, like especially ophthalmology. Let me give you an example. Dry eyes is something like IT guys sit in laptops for 2 hours, and even our people in the office are sitting for hours. So what we did, we tried to organize a campaign for looking at how many people have dry eyes, especially comorbid conditions. And we found almost 60% of them are having dry eyes. So we said, what is that we need to be doing? 2020, we call it as that pathway. So how do you keep on blinking your eyes, which you normally don't do? Then you have to take good amount of water. How do you hydrate yourself? So these are basics which we normally do that. So we did it. Apart from routine things which we all do at HR, running a medical camp and all that stuff, but we want to create some differentiation. So because we are in the same level. And other thing we also did was, one of the person had a sight problem. So how we educated him that he and his family should be aware about eyesight, some of the condition in the disease condition, how to do that. So that awareness we bring to the people, employee, also he cascades that event to the family. So I think we are starting it, but we have a long way to go again. We are doing all this because we are a farmer.
Yes, Dr. Because they have given beautiful example. Let me be play devil's advocate, be little provocative here. So how many of you think that when you say wellness, that we do a full stack in terms of wellness? What I mean by that is, a lot of times we say, wellness means I run a walkathon, that is wellness. I run a yoga, that's wellness. Oh, I get a dietitian, that is a wellness. Is that true wellness? It's more like having this standalone APIs and say like, oh, I did the entire stack with me, right? So all I'm urging, right, to the fellow community here, when you are looking at wellness, please look at the journey of illness to wellness. Not everybody fall into one set of programs. My friend, he just spoke about dry eyes. That's a beautiful use case, but that cannot be like broad brushed. So if you just put your employees in the life cycle of illness to wellness and then come with a holistic solution, that to me is a great wellness initiative, not just having this standalone.
Yeah. So also when we talk about wellness, we need to talk about psychological safety, because what we're all talking about the physical aspects of things in terms of a health camp or medical camp and these things. When somebody is looking for taking care of his or her family, and if the company doesn't have a work-life policy to take care of, at least the manager is sensitive enough to understand that. Because the need for a single parent and the need for a young aspirant joining the organizations and need for a 50 years person are very different. So wellness from the lens of the employee, not from the lens of the management only, is what I'm trying to say from a limited perspective.
Absolutely, yes. Having spoke about wellness and Dr. Varda, this question is for you. When we get into social media, especially LinkedIn, right from a school kid today, I'm sure you would have seen from a college graduate to an employee who's there for a long time, goes crazy towards certifications, after certifications, right? So what is that as an L&D, right, learning and development, what is the value and ROI from a CHR perspective, please?
Yeah, brilliant. So, I think we live in the world of ever-changing world, so we have to keep upskilling, right? Here is one very interesting conversation I had in my previous company with one of the finance leaders. Nobody from finance here, right? Okay, right, then I can speak. So we were having this budget conversations and I was submitting my annual budget for the L&D, and then he looked at me and said, hey Varda, you are overshooting by 30%. Then I was having those conversations, but then he put a very pertinent question. He said, Varda, what if you invest in upskilling and then people leave? Isn't it a fair question? Right? I thought it was a googly. So I thought why I should give an answer, let me pose another question to you. I said, hey, think about the situation. You don't invest in people and then they stay. Which one is better? Right? So to me that's very, very important. It's not about people where they kind of skill and then they leave. It's an attrition is not an issue, but people are not getting skilled and they're not relevant in today's market, and stagnation is a very big issue. Let me throw some numbers. I was researching some numbers and stats of World Economic Forum. It said, let me ask you this question. What percentage of skill today that is in use may not be relevant, not that what Sanjay said 2040 but 2027? Any guess? Wow. Too pessimistic. Right, it is 42%. Right? Very closely then I also read the same article. It also said, it said 85 million jobs may be redundant because of automation, right? Thanks to AI. But the good news is, the same article said, you will have a newer 97 million jobs, but the caveat is, it's going to be a new skill, and the labor division is going to be between human and machine. What it only tells is like one marker, the world is moving towards upskilling and reskilling to keep yourself relevant, right? One last thing, in fact, I'm a big fan of Gallup on this study. It said a very fantastic statistic. It said like any organization that deeply invests in employee development, they see the profitability index go by 11%. Isn't it massive? Right? So therefore to me, Charles, it's not like it's yes or no for upskilling, reskilling. If you want to stay in the market, be relevant, you have to constantly upskill, reskill the individual, and therefore upskilling and reskilling is no longer a talent retention strategy. I would call it as talent relevancy strategy.
Thank you, Dr. Vanda. Devashish, next question to you. Now we have been talking about tech as an enabler, because now in every walks of our life, tech is playing a very, very important pivotal role. So how do we leverage technology to transform total rewards from an administrative perspective to a strategy of the organization?
Sure. So we talk about, I'll just take the context little in a different line. So we hire people based upon job fit and culture fit, right? Because that's the way we either judge the people at the time of interview based upon resume and all sort of things, or we put certain assessment process in terms of technology and systems and try to look at whether it is in the form of a psychometric assessment or you are putting certain tools and systems around it, and you are taking the persons to a journey of the organizational life cycle or employee life cycle. When we talk about pay or reward, this is mostly from a perspective of pay for the job, pay for the performance, and pay for the demand of that skill. Because in data science, because when maybe 20 years back, somewhere I was in IT and somebody who can spell Java also was getting 3.5 lakhs. Maybe things have changed because of the demand and some other skills. So when we talk about pay for the job, it's not nothing to do with the person. The job in terms of the job leveling, and we're trying to look at it from that perspective, and certain aspect in terms of pay. Now when you have people who have different aspirations, different ambitions, and being in a workplace, how do we bring a systems or a process or a technology to take care of things based upon something for everybody? Because that's what we were talking about, a career path and all sort of things in terms of, because everybody is working for certain things to come to them, either in the form of a pay or in the form of benefit. Now benefit, whether it is a financial benefit or non-financial benefit. Benefit from a short-term reward perspective or long-term in terms of a LTI or ESOP, you can able to take it based upon different layer and different level. So when we are talking about a benefit design program in terms of bringing technology to the process, basically, I think my example, and this is where I'm working here also in one of these scenario in my existing organizations. That's a pretty big challenge for us also, even though in that sector. Can you do a little bit kind of a customization? See, the example is Netflix. I go to Netflix because my wife has her own choice, my son has his own choice, and I have my own choice. Based upon the way we wanted to go for and based upon our requirement, we can look at. When we are talking about a benefit basket, I think technology has that potential to make you choose based upon your requirement. Somewhere, because I told everybody has a different journey within the organization systems and things. So if you have a basket of benefits coming in a different line, and if there is an element of flexibility or choice given to the employee to choose from in terms of things, that is going to help a lot. If you are trying to create a layer of intelligence in the kind of, whether it is helping in choosing that or whether it is looking at the usage, how benefited it has. If you have a medical policy and try to look at, if you are trying to bring that to the point of technology, one basic aspect can be, I have a medical process now and I don't have to again, nobody has to call me now. Everything is through technology. You have your every data, you have the M-panel hospitals, everything is linked. I have put forth another company which takes care of psychological safety. You have a number, they take care of that. If you want to give a call to them, they will come and help as counseling and all sort of things. Particularly when you are trying to look at the help of technology, I think it needs to be looked from the employee experience perspective. And obviously every technology has certain aspects of challenges because benefit is such that there is no end to it when we are trying to look at. I think that particular aspects need to be looked upon, what is relevant for today and how you can able to look at. That can be again through your technology processes or systems. You can reach out to the employee, get some feedback, which is the area of their requirement, and I think it can able to give that experience, whether you are trying to look at from the reward systems, whether you are trying to look at from the systems where they can collaborate. Technology is definitely going to play a larger role. Which systems, which process, which technology, I'm not getting into that. But technology, employee are going to work together, and down the line, we should not be surprised if my peer or my manager or my team member is another algorithm sitting with me, maybe next 10 years time.
Thank you. Umaji, next question to you. How do we rethink total reward, especially for today? To be very specific, we have been talking about hybrid, we have been talking about tech, skill-based roles and so on. Maybe your thoughts on this, please.
So Charles, thanks for that question. And I think the whole theme of this conference seems to be around that, right? And that is really the need of the hour to have conversations on this. And why do I say this? Just to give a little background to this. What's really happening with the way work is changing, right? With the introduction of gig, vendors, part-time, etc., becoming bigger. I mean, in fact, I believe 61 million people in India are actually in the gig way working, which people never imagined in the past, right? So what's really happening in the landscape? I think one is organizations are looking for on-demand workforce, right? I mean, this is one of the struggles I have. When my plant utilization is not very good, can I sort of cut down the fixed cost? It's become very difficult to do that. And when it goes up, can I add it according to the need? So on-demand workforce has become one of the key features of organizations today. Then I think consumer industry is going in a big way towards a gig, right? Because of the same inherent reasons of demand going up, down, seasonality, etc., all of that, right? As well as commercial organization. Then you already talked about flexibility, agility that people are looking for from the employer point of view, right? I mean, that becomes one of the driving forces for us. Being nimble-footed is going to be one of the ways in which, so I'm in a private equity firm now. I think everything is as of day before yesterday. Actions on people and processes are surgical and quick, okay? So I've just got a new MD And like he's sitting from day one, he's been sitting in 10-hour meetings, and by the end of 1 week, he's given me a list of things to do in which I have to actually fire a few people, hire a lot more, but very, very flexible, on-demand kind of situation, right? Workforce. And then getting gig workers is going to get harder for employers because of the government regulations or all that is coming up. So I think the landscape is changing enormously. Now in that situation, when you talk about this question of how things are changing in terms of reward for them, today we don't have a structured way of dealing with people, right? We just take them in and think that they'll start working and be loyal to you for as long as you want. Friends, my realization in the last couple of years is the gig workers are niche skilled people, right? They know what they're good at and they are going to call the shots as they go forward. If we have a very traditional mindset of using them the way we do the employment contracts with the regular people, you're not going to get anybody at all. So in your mind, you need to change the way you're going to be working with them. They would probably show up twice a week. They would probably work X number of hours. They would want certain benefits which you have not given to such people ever. Health benefit or wellness or employee assistance program. So I remember long back we used to say Diwali sweet 1 kg for employee and half kg for contract workmen. Right? We can't do these things anymore. This is going to be terrible practice and you will not get the best minds. So if you look at gig as someone who's a second-rate employee replacing some fixed cost, I think that mindset has to change. And if we don't change that, we'll have a big, big issue because you will go, as Charles said, towards skill-based roles in employment and you will not always fight it internally. You will have to go outside and do it. I'll give you an example. We have an agglomeration issue going on in pharma. I'm sure Varda understands that. It's a big issue with one of the customers. I don't have anybody internally to solve it. And I have gone for a really, really accomplished person to come and do this. And this person is going to come only 5 days in a month. Okay? Hybrid. The cost is prohibitive. But I need to do that. I'm respecting the skill that the person is bringing, which I don't have. So I think the whole game is changing as far as gig is concerned. Gig is not only Swiggy delivery boys. Gig is going to be highly skilled people in organizations. You need to find a way to handle it.
Thank you.
And just one point, one more. I think gig unions are going to happen very soon. Remember this. Gig unions are going to happen. People will come together to ask for their rights. We have to be prepared for that. So don't think about the great unions being held in doing all these LTS and bonus settlements and all that. How do we handle this? And I think Swiggy and others are already doing it. Maybe you all will do it.
Yes. Thank you so much. Now makes very, very sense today and for the future. My last question to Varadarajan. Varadarajan, now we have a house full of HR leaders. Now what's one mindset shift you foresee from HR and finance where we can truly co-create and bring value to the organization? How HR and finance can co-create value for today and tomorrow? Breaking the silos, right? Now that's the core, breaking the silos, now how we co-create.
I think when we discussed as well, I think all of us know that this question was also how many numbers of people are in finance. In fact, I thought somebody will raise the hand, nobody raised because nobody believes that many of the companies now have started looking at CHROs to go to finance and finance to this. Because honestly speaking, I think this is where it is quite critical that we look at both the sides and then only we can become a strategic pillar. What I see from our organization point of view is when CHRO and the CFO is, the bridge is data. And both of us look at different lenses, but the data remains the same. And another very vital point which I see is we debate, we battle, but the one thing is for the organization. That sums up it all. So it may be manpower planning. So he says it's cost, it's too expensive, you're doing it. I say, what do I do? Now, honestly speaking, he was telling about We have a great opportunity. I don't know how many of CHR will know here. We had tied up with the National Skill Council. The Skill Council the government gives for almost 5,000 plus people, field force in pharma. We did it free of cost, which was around 13 lakhs cost. Government has sponsored free of cost. They had given everything. So when I went to the CHRO, I said, this is what it is. Next year probably we have to invest and do that. He said no. So I said that if you are not going to do, there will be an impact on the attrition. So what I want to say is the battle is good, but we see at one point that one is manpower running. There is always a good amount of collaboration which is happening between us. Second area which is coming to us is some of the process protocols, thus cost, like we are looking at HR analytics, HR dashboards, we are investing on some of the tools. We go to the CFO, he says that the cost is going to be high, but we say how we are going to improve the whole thing. But in pharma, we are too dependent on productivity of people. We are having talent dearth because sales as well as R&D talent pipeline is drying. And the third is huge amount of price point erosion happening because of generic, which is all of you know it. And the last but not the least, which is critical for us to understand, when these dimensions are very clearly understood and my finance head also understand, we play it in a way that it doesn't become too cost or value proposition is not seen, then we do a stop. But we are working together every time we debate, and this is where the data comes in, and we have been partly successful, but we have a battle every day. So it is the two sides of the coin, and we continue to see that we are strengthening the organized way. Today, for the chairman, we both are the strategic pillar. He takes decision. We are quite evolved towards taking it, and we are able to provide a lot of database saying that why this decision should be good, but we go to him together. We don't go it alone. This is what I want to add.
I just want to add two practical scenarios that I'm going through. One is scenario planning with finance really helps when it comes to managing costs. And their answers obviously cash flows and EBITDA. And we play a lot of role in EBITDA and HR. And so one of the ways you scenario planning to see what kind of workforce to have, how much to pay, how the incentives can work, generate income and then take the money. So I think this is where HR and finance plays a very important role. Second piece I've seen is in innovation, particularly in pharma. How do you convince finance to accept certain programs that actually kick off innovation in a very big way? And that's where they also feel that we are adding value and it is an investment and not really a cost.
Especially on R&D, which
yeah.
Yeah.
So these two I've seen closely.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now we just have a few minutes for the audience to have your questions ready. If you are ready, yes. Can someone pass on the mic, please? Yes.
A question to the panel. Specifically, we've seen that the younger generation now want to retire early because they don't believe in the concept of saving for tomorrow, and wealth creation happens to be the mindset now. So what are some of the strategies that you have, or probably the practices in the market that you are aware of, that you can bring to us? So can you please share and throw some light on it, please?
Right? Yes. See, we are battling between three type of generations, and often I see the younger generation says, okay, I do it, the span of attentions are quite low, and as you said, they want to retire early, and we have certain class of people who wants to continue their work. What we do is, we keep a balance of both, because culturally we want to understand that they both have come with some sort of thoughts. The legacy of those people who have been there in the larger span in the organization, they contributed, we want to recognize it. The new generation, what we normally see, they're restless, they want to keep on jumping, they are not able to do that. So what we, as a CHRO, we listen to them. We don't go with whatever they say, that within 2 years I want to get promoted. Some of them come to the interview by saying that what is your role, and they say where is my cabin, where is my secretary, this sort of thing, but the role is individual role. So I think the clarity is lacking at that. So they may be highly knowledgeable, but unfortunately they are not employable. That is where we are trying to see that how can we mentor them, how can we coach them, how can we really see them as, initially welcoming them by saying, have a long-term career with the organization. We keep on telling them that same thing, that if you keep on jumping, you will have an extended honeymoon. But you may not have, after a certain time, you will not be recognized in any company. I think that's what we are seeing from our industry. We do have this problem, but I don't see a single solution to this particular thing, but we are trying to engage them as much as possible. Reward, loads of rewards are given, but they are looking at far more than this, which each individuals are different. Though we may call personality things and so many things, but in HR, the finance will not give so many number of HR team so that we can have an individual personalized thing. We are a lean team. We have to see a larger 22,000 plus team we have. We have around 10 or 12 HR team. We have to organize, we can look at it, we can call them, we can speak to them. But individual varieties of looking at it becomes a little challenging. So we are balancing that. I don't know whether I could address your question, but we are going towards it, but we have to go a long way. That's my understanding.
Yeah, I just had a perspective for you. My son is 5 years into work life. And yesterday night he was talking to me saying, I need to retire. I said, you've only just started working. He says, no, I need to retire very early. I'm not going to work like you forever. And his motivation, he's changing his job now in the tech space, right? His motivation is the amount of money that he can make. So your question is so real. What has the company done where he's intending to go? They've been very transparent with their operation, the money that they're earning, and profit sharing is one of the ways they do it. And I think more and more tech companies are turning it transparent and wanting to do profit sharing because that's the opportunity for someone to create wealth. And I think if this principle is followed in various industries, trust me, the motivation levels are going to go really high. Good work backed by an opportunity to make wealth early is what will keep a lot of youngsters going.
Thank you, Maji. Thank you so much. Now, one final last question to just one panelist. Maybe I'll choose Dr. Varda. Varda, we have been talking about the lens from the HR, from the finance. Now, how about from the founders' lens? Your thoughts on this?
Wow, that's a brilliant one. So, in today's world, you see a lot of this founders. How many of you think like this founders chase valuation? A lot. So I would just say a company that chases value creation and balances the valuation is the one which really stems and then stays alive. So here is one experience that I have. I thought I should really share it with you. This was in one of my previous company, and I will disclose it later. It was a town hall, and then the founder stood up in the podium and then shared all the 10 new business ideas which are very risky, untested, and you don't know the success rates of that. He completed the entire session, right? I thought like we are closing, and then like that one hand went up. This young kid, fresh out of college, he just stood and asked, this is great presentation, can you just tell me, of the 10, which one would really succeed and transform the company? Isn't it a googly? And what I really liked about this founder is he smiled, he paused, and had the humility to really say, I don't know which of the 10 would succeed, but I know like 2 of the 10 would succeed. Right? And that to me like taught the leadership lesson, which is 3. One is, you don't have to have all answers. You should have that humility. That founder had deep humility, right? Number 2, courage to experiment. In today's world, it's all about experimentation. You don't know which one would really succeed, right? When you experiment, not all of them would really see the light, right? Risk taking. So when the products which don't see the light, are you reprimanding or are you really learning from it? So the third lesson that I really learned is resilience in learning from failure, right? Humility to kind of accept that I don't know, then courage to experiment, then resilience to kind of learn from the mistakes, right? Do you know who is that founder? I was associated with this company 2 decades back. It is Dr. Sridhar Vembu from Zoho. Guys, you can applaud. Yeah, so I had like 5 years with Zoho, and this stood, in fact I wrote a LinkedIn article just a month back on this. Sometimes some of these learnings stay with you forever, and this is like one of the key learning that I thought that the young founder should really kind of imbibe in them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the wonderful audience. A huge round of applause to Varadarajan, Dr. Varga, Devashisha, Umarov. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for making this happen.
Thank you so much. I now request Mr. Sugandhan, Associate Director of Partner Relations, to hand over a memento to our esteemed panelists, please. Mr. Sugandhan onto the stage and memento here. Please put your hands together for this very insightful panel, please. Continued applause for me, please. Please put your hands together. Thank you, Sugandhan. Close the curtains of HRizon, I'm reminded that while technology powers our systems, it is people who power our progress and our culture and purpose fuel it. Until next time, let's all work together for a redesigned, reimagined work experience with people at the center of it. So yes, this is the end of the session, but I would like all of you to gather here for a quick group picture. Now this day is one thing that has to be cherished, so we would like to have the moment shared with you via emails. The entire recording of the event will be available on email sent to you to your email boxes, and also the photographs, the group picture and the ones you shot at the photo booth will be available. So please come up on stage. It's your time to be on stage now, and let's all take a group picture. Leaders onto the stage, please.